Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everywhere you are, where you're listening to me. The hosts, please, can you make me the co-host, please? And also, can you also try as much as possible other co-moderators that will be coming today? The host, are you there? Mobola, please, can you make me the co-host, please? Thank you. Can you send me the co-host invite? Please. Before we do anything today, we would like to have a 1 minute silence for General Lagbaja, the former Chief of Army Staff, who died in service some days ago. We are proud of him. Firstly, as a Yoruba man, who used all his life to serve the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and who was one of the few Yoruba men in Nigeria that was fortunate to have risen to that level and position within Nigeria. We pray that his soul rests in perfect peace. I'm really begging the host to make me a co-host. Today's session is a different session because there are a lot of people that are coming to speak to also join me on stage. I've seen Akinlaye. I'm also waiting for Michael to also come on stage because today's topic is 2-in-1. Please, the host, kindly respond on time. I'm begging you. So before we proceed, we would like to have a 1 minute silence. May the late Chief of Army Staff, may his soul rest in perfect peace. 1 minute, please. May his soul rest in perfect peace. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Mobola, please, are you there, the host? Can you hear me? Please, I need your attention now. Can you hear me? Make me a co-host. We would like to bring people on stage, and there's a lot of people that are going to join. Please, I need your attention today. Please, if any executives of TYF is listening to me, help me to try and reach her as soon as possible. If you're holding the space, you need to also pay attention to what we are going to be discussing. Thank you. Today is going to be fantastic. Today is going to be brilliant. Today is going to be interesting. And For the past few hours, I have been doing everything possible to educate people as usual. The Yoruba people actually do not have any problem within Nigeria. The problem of the Yoruba people within Nigeria is the Yoruba people. Any problem we have in Nigeria is self-imposed. Any problem the Yoruba people have in Nigeria is a self-destructive chain reaction that we set up of ourselves. Our children are always hating themselves. We've seen Yoruba people, people born with Yoruba parents, Edo parents, half Igbo, half Yoruba, half Hausa, half Yoruba, half Fulani, half Yoruba, half Thief, half Yoruba. But if you observe in all these marriages and the product of those such marriages, 9 out of 10, they don't show hatred towards their other side. So why is it that it is people who have mixed parentage and they are part of the Yoruba race that their hatred, prejudice is always towards the Yoruba race? And that shows weakness. It shows a decadence. It shows a declining civilization that is already happening amongst the Yoruba people. What we are seeing is 40, 50 years of social engineering of the Yoruba race towards extinction. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Once again, anywhere you're listening to us. I greet you all in the name of Olodumare. I greet you all in the name of the creator of the heavens and the earth. It is the anniversary of 140 years of the Berlin West African Conference. 140 years ago, the European powers sat down and on the table. And this particular important meeting 140 years ago took place in Germany, in the capital of Germany, Berlin, Germany. And what was being discussed at this level? What was discussed at this level was how are we going to break Africa into pieces? They didn't care about our obas. They didn't care about our sultans. They didn't care about the indigenous kingdoms that have been existing for thousands of years within the continent of Africa. They had invented a powerful weapon, automatic guns, machine guns. They perfected the instrument of warfare. We were still fighting, defending ourselves with bow, arrows, sword, cavalry. They've invented the modern, it was like the nuclear weapon of those times. And they decided, because they wanted to industrialize, it was the age of massive industrialization. They needed raw materials. They needed slaves. They needed land. They needed taxes. They needed to expand their hegemony. They needed to craft the world, to forge the world in their own image and likeness. And they were thinking, what do we do with Africa? Because what happened was, the different colonial powers started fighting over pieces of land in Africa. The Germans were fighting the English. The French were fighting the Germans. The Spanish were fighting the Portuguese. The Portuguese were fighting the Germans. Everybody wanted a peace. And they sat down and said, we don't need to fight ourselves. We don't need to kill ourselves because we want to be about these natives. And what do? They let us draw a map and take up territories, and we are going to possess that territory. And that was what happened. The only European power that could not get anything from that particular deal, like it was Italy. Italy was given that area of Somalia and Ethiopia. But Italy took up guns and ammunition, thinking they could conquer Ethiopia. Ethiopia defeated them at the Battle of Adowa. That was how Ethiopia was not colonized by Italy. But the rest of Africa was taken up by the European powers. And they used the sweat and resources of Africa in order to become, in order to forge Africa into what it is. We are speaking English language today as the official language of Nigeria because of the 1884 Berlin West African Conference. We are called Nigerians today because of the 1884 Berlin West African Conference. What happened to the Yoruba people? Because we are going to be speaking about what happened to us as a race at the 1884 Berlin West African Conference. What happened to us was that at the 1884 Berlin West African Conference, the Yoruba homeland, the entire contiguous land that is called Yoruba land was broken into pieces. And when they broke it into pieces, the Germans broke it into three powerful pieces. The Germans took the Yoruba part of Togo, and the French took the Yoruba part, which we now call Benin Republic, formerly called Dahomey, and the English took the Yoruba part of Nigeria, which we now call Nigeria. We still call Nigeria. So that was how Yoruba land was broken into three. That is why we have Yoruba people that are French speaking, that you find them in Benin Republic. And you are a Yoruba man and you find yourself in Nigeria. It was because of that injustice of 1884 that made your siblings to be cut away from you. That is why you are going, when we say things, you are going to see the Yoruba man of Benin Republic, and you are going to see him as a foreigner compared to you as a Yoruba man of Nigeria. The only people who understood the dangers of the 1884 Berlin West African Conference in Nigeria, there are just two, the Fulanis and the Kanuris. You saw what this man said, the former president of Nigeria. He said, how can you, he said it while he was the president of Nigeria. Like, there's no difference between the Yorubas when they were trying to challenge why he was building railway to Niger Republic. He said there's no difference between the Hausa Fulani of Niger and the Hausa Fulani of Nigeria. He understood geopolitics. That was why when there was a coup d'etat in Niger Republic, and ECOWAS was pushing Nigeria to invade Niger Republic to go and quote unquote restore democracy, we saw what the Arewa Consultative Forum, El-Rufai came out. The entire powers that be in the corners came out. If you attack Benin Republic, if you attack Niger Republic, you are declaring war on the entire Hausa Fulani and the corners of Nigeria. President Tinubu, being a Yoruba man, quickly withdrew.
Are, are you back? Are, she ain't me.
Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm going. Can everybody hear us? Are we audible? Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ tẹ́ bá ń gbọ́ wa, ẹ kàn fún wa ní thumbs up, ẹ jọ̀ọ́. Tí gbogbo ilé bá ń gbọ́ wa, thank you, ẹ ṣeun.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Yeah. We are so sorry for the last disruption. We are so sorry. I think we need to bring up some people. Ashiri Oro should be brought up. He's part of the speakers today. And Mark Akinleye, if he's also here, he's also part of the speakers. We are so sorry for the disruption. We've lost 30 minutes. It was because of internet issues. We are so sorry. We are so sorry. So, like I said, going back to what we were discussing, the 1884 Berlin West African Conference actually changed the dynamics of power in West Africa. So at the 1884 Berlin West African Conference was where Nigeria was created, was where the entire African country was created, and the borders maintained. If you observe, the only time the African border was officially changed was around 2010, 2011 to 2012, when South Sudan was created out of Sudan. And that was done with the consent of the European powers. So if there is no European power, there is no there is nothing called nationhood. So the Nigerian state is a product of white imperialism and white of West Africa. Three parts, namely breaking part of the Yoruba land of West Africa into three parts, where the Yorubas of Togo became German speakers, the Yorubas of France of Benin Republic became French speakers, and the Yoruba became English speakers. So sometimes many of us don't understand why anybody in his right senses, in his right frame of mind, is going to say that English language is superior to the Yoruba language. Wow, it's just, and we also want so that means the Yorubas of Benin Republic will also believe that English language, French language is superior to the Yoruba language. If not for after the First World War, after the First World War, and Germany lost the First World War, was why and Germany lost the First World War, was why Togo ceased to be a German-speaking country, and it became a French-speaking country. So it's extremely important for us to know where we're coming from. And this particular event took place 140 years ago. 140 years ago was when this particular event took place. Was when this particular event took place. So 140 years ago, our reality was shaped, our future was shaped, our sovereignty was taken away from us, and new countries was formed in Africa. New countries was formed in Africa. And if you observe, the 1884, the 1884 Berlin West African Conference was where European powers first changed the dynamics of power in the Arab world. It was after the 1914 to 1918 First World War that made the European powers not gain access over the Middle East. Every single country in the Middle East was created by European powers. I'm going to repeat it. Every single country in the Middle East, all your countries was made in Europe. Nigeria was made in Berlin. South Africa was made in Berlin.
I think Kara is having connection issue again.
Yeah, I can't hear him either. This
I
topic is
think
very
on his
interesting.
side, on show connecting. So more where are any connection issue?
Yeah. Okay. While we're waiting, to the people that participated in the Yoruba Runu essays, the result is out. We've announced the speakers. I mean, the winners. Please, if you get an email, check your email because a lot of you have been waiting. Check your email to see if you're the winner. I believe the winner of the 1 million was one Festus Ogumbayo. We'll be sending out his video very soon. And a lot of about 10 or 14 people won. At the end of the day, they shared the winning prizes among each other for a total of 1.9 million naira is the total. Are, if you can hear us, maybe go out and come back because we can't hear you.
Hello, Kale. Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ekalo,
Charlie, be
Angboy.
Mr. Marcus. Okay, come power fill the time until carry to sort out to network issue. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ẹ jẹ́ ẹnì kan náwó torí mo ò rí wọn. Ààrẹ sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan náà mi ò
Only
rí wọn.
Mr.
Ẹnì kan
Akinleye,
náwó.
only Akinleye.
Akínlẹ́yẹ, all right.
Yeah.
Are, you need to go out and come back in. I can still see Are on this send here.
But I can drop one. I don't know how it works.
No, I think you just need to go out and come back in. Then you'll be fine. In the meantime, let's hear from Mark Akinle or Ashire or whoever wants to contribute to the topic. Thank you.
Hello? Am I audible?
Then, Mr.
Loud and
Marcus.
clear, à ń gbọ́ yín.
Yeah.
Loud
Shall
and
power
clear.
fill
Okay, that's
the
nice.
premise of the whole event? Then the carry of the sort out and sort out.
Yeah, me, well, I don't know if this network is strong.
À ń gbọ́ yín, à ń gbọ́ yín.
Okay, Engbomi. Okay, that's
Loud and
nice.
clear,
That's
à ń gbọ́
nice.
yín dáadáa.
But my network here is fluctuating, so Engbomi. Okay, so, ẹ káalẹ́ o, ẹ káàsán àti ẹ káàárọ̀. Yeah, so, màá kọ́ feeling fún ààrẹ. So basically plan ẹ lánàá gan ni mo rántí pé okay o no ìjẹta ni mo rántí pé àná jẹ́ 140 years 140 years anniversary of Berlin conference. So okay, Ààrẹ, I think I heard his voice.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Where was the line? Where did I stop?
Ààrẹ, stop. You stop where you saying Nigeria was made in Germany, Abi, if I get it.
Oh yes, that's
Exactly. You were
what. But
saying,
you
yeah.
were saying the entire Middle East was made in Germany. Middle Eastern country was made in Germany.
Okay. The entire Middle East. Actually, can you use this? The entire Middle East was made in Europe. It was made after the end of the First World War. After the First World War and the Ottoman Empire lost that war, they sat down, cut Middle East into pieces, created Iraq, created Kuwait, created Iran, created Saudi Arabia. They just created countries based on their own interests because they saw the Middle East was rich in oil and gas. That was how they created the entire countries in Africa. There is no single country in Africa that was not socially re-engineered from Europe. That's why I don't understand when some people say, I am pro-Nigeria, I am pro-Benin Republic, I am pro-this, but you are anti-Western, you are anti-West. That was why Pan-Africanism failed. Pan-Africanism was building on the foundation of the 1884 Berlin West African Conference. Our youth needs to know why they speak English. You spoke English because of the 1884 Berlin West African Conference that took place 140 years ago. Today is not the day I'm going to mince words. Today is a day where we need to make truth to be known. We are all products of imperialism. We are products of genocide. We are products of ethnocide. Our sovereignty has been taken away from us. We control nothing. Our sovereignty does not belong to us. We need to understand where we are coming from. Despite the fact that Nigeria was made in Britain, was made in Germany, in that Berlin West African Conference, which was headed by the German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck, who created the modern Germany. Germany did not exist 300 years ago. Germany was created in the mid-1950s through diplomacy, blood, and iron. Germany, what Otto von Bismarck did was to unite the Germanic people who spoke almost the same language. It was not different from what Chief Obafemi Awolowo did for us by using Egbe Modudua to unite the Yoruba-speaking people into a powerful political bloc within Nigeria. Whether you are Muslim, whether you're a Christian, whether you are a Sheshe, as Yorubas within Nigeria. That is why people like us can never tolerate those who seek to use religion or because of tribal supremacy to divide Yoruba land into pieces. You are undoing what Chief Obafemi Awolowo did, which is spilled his blood for another comrades. Despite the fact that we can blame the British for everything they've done to us, we can blame the European imperialists for what they did to us. It is unforgivable. But we must never forget that the British imperialists gave us the opportunity to negotiate our terms of agreement. Nigeria is not a nation, it is a country of nations. There is Yoruba nation, there is Igbo nation, Fulani nation, Kanuri nation, Tiv nation, Ijaw nation. Name it. We are a people with our different ancestral lands. Some people saw Nigeria as an opportunity to build the most powerful black country on earth, while some people saw Nigeria as a tool to expand, conquer territory, and continue war of conquest. That was why the coup happened in 1966. They did a coup in 1966 and they destroyed the federal backing, the federal basis of Nigeria. The basis of Nigerian unity has been destroyed since 1966. That is why people are clamoring for true federalism and restructuring. We have not been able to define Nigeria. We've not been able to define the reason why we exist as a people. You saw somebody came out, some Arewa people came out, that they will prefer Nigeria to be ruled by Islamic law. What height of treason can that be? Mentioning theocratic law in a country that is multi-ethnic, multi-religious, and some people think it is a joke for us not to defend our own turf. If there was Think Yoruba First in 1966, maybe the Yoruba people would have had a better deal during the Biafran War. We were just forced into another people's war. We were caught unawares. I was trying to explain something the other time. If you look at the Hausa Fulani youth, they still think and reason. They are even more radical than Ahmadu Bello. The ideology of Ahmadu Bello is so solid in the core north. I clap for them. I give it to them. Their parents have done a good job. In the southeast, the ideology of Zik, Nrosi, and their agenda of Nigeria is what their youths are following. Maybe their youth are poor, maybe the youth is a professor, maybe they are home and abroad, they all reason the same way. They want a Nigeria where they will go into any place and be challenging the indigenous people and be controlling the politics and the economics. You cannot blame them. You cannot hate them for it. That is their own definition of Nigeria. They've never lied. That is what they wanted since 1914. Let's come back to the southwest for Yoruba land. Our youths are the most politically ignorant, naive, decadent in the whole West Africa. They are proud, they are arrogant, they are naive, The Western education Awolowo has brought into the Southwest has become our greatest undoing. They are so individualistic. They will say rubbish with confidence. We are in trouble. You don't need to miss words. We are in trouble in the Southwest because our youths, and many of them are in politics. They believe Awolowo's philosophy, Akintola's philosophy is no longer useful for their own existence in Nigeria. How can a Yoruba youth that went through the 4 walls of university, even normal NCE, be saying that population is not important in Nigeria? What is the genesis of Wasobia? Why did we have 3 regional system of government? Why does Nigeria have a 3-port? Not a 6-port or 7-port or dex-port. Why does Nigeria have a 3-port? Nigeria had a 3-port because there were 3 major hegemony in Nigeria based on population sizes. The majority ethnic group in the east were the Igbos, and they created the eastern region where the Igbos controlled. The majority ethnic group in the north was Hausa Fulani, where they left the Hausa Fulani Caliphate structure to control the north. The majority ethnic group in the western region were the Yorubas, where they left the political structure for the Yorubas. If the Yoruba people had the population of Igede or Tiv or Ijo, you would never have a western region. If you were a minority as in 1960, if you were just number 4 in 1960, you will never have, there would never be something called Wasobia. Your forefathers that were marrying 4 wives, giving birth to 30 children, 40 children, is why you can raise your useless and stupid shoulder in Nigeria and be thinking you're somebody. They did that dirty job for you to be proud to be a Yoruba man. You are poor. Your civilization is always attacked. Your resources is being taken away to develop other places. Your population is shrinking. You are becoming a minority every 2 years. Other ethnicities are coming to challenge your right to control your space, control your economy, your space politically and economically in your space. And you still have the audacity to come on Twitter and be saying you don't need population. If it is possible for some people like us not to change our Yoruba identities, it's possible. And one book everybody knock. That everybody knock does not want to have anything to do with you. Why would everybody not want to have anything to do with you, weak generation? Ó ti sá lọ fún yín now. Ó ti sá lọ fún yín mọ̀ pé ìwúlò. He knows you are not people that are not worth fighting for. You will explain, and explain. They will still be arguing blindly. So was someone even saying, "Oh, don't you think it's very hard giving birth to labor?" But I don't be mother from afar. Major. Ni north, ni middle belt, north central, northwest, south, southeast, northwest, east. So only major làwọn obìnrin tí wọ́n ní. We even need to be preaching and preaching before you see the reason why you must marry your fellow Yorubas. That's why nobody has respect for you, because they see you as conquered people. A former first lady called the entire Yoruba people entire names. The media in Nigeria did not give a damn. A random person said Igbo must go. The entire Nigeria went into flames. It shows you are useless in the scheme of things. It shows your level. What to destroy in here, man. Hate me for what you do. Hate me. Somebody said your strong words. You take perfect pound.
100 million slaves.
The only thing you know how to do is to be destroying your fellow Yorubas. Spreading rumors about Are, spreading rumors about TYF, spreading rumors about Tinubu, destroying Tinubu. That's what you guys know how to do. Pettiness. Gossiping. Come together to build something, you will not do it. Except you destroy your fellow Yorubas. I asked a question, kí ni Tinubu ṣe fún yín náà? Didn't come out sorrow. Money and Tinubu did not help us much. Money, kí ni Peter Obi ṣe fún Yorùbá rí? No response. Kí ni Atiku ṣe fún Yorùbá rí? No response. Atiku was a former vice president of Nigeria for 8 years. During that 8 years, as the vice president of Nigeria, there were a lot of top Yoruba politicians that were assassinated between 1999 and 2007. Not only that, the Alliance for Democracy was destroyed when he was ruling with Tinubu, was ruling with Atiku, with OBJ. He even bragged that he was the one that allowed Tinubu to survive, that they should have destroyed AD, also in Lagos State. You know all these things, but then you always like to destroy your fellow Yorubas in order to show that you are different. That's why you don't care about your population anymore. You don't care about your population anymore. The only people saving the Yoruba people from becoming a minority in Nigeria are the Yoruba Muslims and the Yoruba Isheshe. Those are the only people saving us. Those are the only people saving us. If not, we should have been history within Nigeria. This is a country where population is what they use to determine who gets what. This is a country that they use to determine population, to determine how they share resources. This is a country where population is what they use to determine the geopolitical power of this country. This is a country where they use population to determine the number of states you are going to get. The Southeast is smaller in landmass if you combine Akwa Ibom and Cross River. Akwa Ibom and Cross River do not have the Efik people, they belong to the same ethnic group. They do not have ethno-linguistic group. They do not have they do not have political power. They only have 2 states. But Igbos, because of their population, if there is a census tomorrow, the entire Igbo race are going to Southeast to go and count themselves. If Igbo people add the civilization we had, if they add the population we had, if they have the landmass we have, their life would have been better than this. But they died in wars, they died in battles, spilled their blood, their sweat, communicated with the gods, gave you everything you need in life. Not to start up. You talk anyhow in public, no gumption. You see the way Hausa Fulani support themselves in public. The Igbo support themselves in public. But I don't want to use strong languages. No conscience. Because it's the reality. Some people are looking for a shortcut. They cannot stand and fight for their rights within the Nigerian space. I just hope Akintola did not die for nothing. I hope Bola did not die for nothing. With nothing to show for it. They gave back to a useless generation. Weak generation. That stands for nothing. People that lack the capacity of logical reasoning. I can body sorry last one, fine boy with nothing upstairs. The women just know Yoruba women are the most slandered female gender in the entire West Africa. Yoruba women are the most slandered. They insult you, they denigrate you. You cannot band together for Yoruba women fighting for Yoruba rights. Some women are trying their best. You are waiting for decadent Yoruba men to come and fight for you. A decadent Yoruba men, they need the help. You have the resources, you are educated, you are smart. Take people to court when they slander Yoruba women. Make examples. Organize yourself. If the entire Yoruba women come together and say, we are not going to vote for you because you don't have a Yoruba first lady, that person will lose that election. That is how you can fight. If a Yoruba women came together and say, we are not going to vote for you because this market is not controlled by us, nobody is going to stop you. Nobody. They will come and beg you. All of you just believe life is just a bed of roses. That is why we are saying the demography is changing in Nigeria. Yoruba is going to become minority in 2050. When they argue rather, we don't need big population, we just need quality. No apologies. Don't greet me again. I'm not doing this because of you. I'm doing it for people. Maybe somebody is going to listen to me and do the needful and protect this glorious race. Because you guys don't deserve to be Yoruba. You don't deserve to be Yoruba. You deserve to be something else. And I've said it. The best of the Yoruba race was taken into slavery. The worst, the best of the Yoruba race was taken into slavery. The brilliant men, that's why they survived. Some rather tí wọ́n tó wà nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà ìnáwó kó lọ sóko ẹrú àwọn yóò tiẹ̀ lọ wọ́n tiẹ̀ deny ní báwọn ṣe Yorùbá mọ́ àwọn tó kó lọ sóko ẹrú for 400 years they survived. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ wà létí wọn ò kó we are begging you to survive. Ẹ máa sọ òyìnbó orí burúkú ni. And we say there's no problem with you. Any problem now? Any problem? Àwọn ọmọ ẹrú ló kúnlẹ̀. Àwọn ọmọ ẹrú ló kúnlẹ̀. Hate me, I don't care. Because this is getting out of hand. This is common sense. They don't understand what it takes to survive anymore. And people like us will continue to shout from the mountain top. Which, look at what is happening. Why do you think there is baby factory in the southeast? Why? Why do you think southeast cannot share baby factory? Why are they sponsoring mass marriages in the corn north? That is, Nigeria oh God, Nigeria is not love situation. Nigeria is not in love around one. Nigeria is competition. That's why it goes to tell you you cannot compete. You cannot compete. To them is competition. And in competition, you can use anything to win. The Hausa Fulanis are competing. They know they cannot compete with you on that level. Kinoni population. One you census data. One bimo journey. Continue to speak Turanchi, saying that rubbish. They will conquer you. They will conquer you. And nothing will happen. The Ijaw people too are boosting their population. The Tiv people too are boosting their population. They are boosting their population. Do you know what it takes? Oh my God. Do you know what it takes to transfer 300,000 voters, PVC, from one region to another region in order to control the political outcome? 300,000. Ìbò gan mélòó gan náà fi ń win ní Èkìtì, ìbò mélòó náà fi ń win ní Ọ̀ṣun. And the group tí ò share any border, the Southeast does not share any border with the Southwest. They were able to organize themselves. They got accommodation. They followed up in Abuja. They organized themselves, villages by villages, ward by ward, churches by churches. Many of the Catholic churches in Lagos became where they were registering for PVC, and they brought 300,000 voters to your space to take away the most powerful economic empire, political space the Yoruba people have in 20th, 24th century. And you think it is just a joke, and you can't joke with a terekale. African man saw conservatism. I remember when we started conservatism. Many of you will run away when we started this movement. Now you think it's nice. All of you can just be using this term, no problem. Question: it's not somebody's term, but you should know what it entails. If you still want to be doing rubbish, you want to be sending work. When we talk about our survival, stay away from this ideology. You run a presidential system. In a presidential system, your number determines your future. Your numbers determine your future. Let me tell you something that happened in Kaduna. Kaduna is a Christian Muslim state. The Hausa Fulani on one side, and the minorities in the southern and central side. In order to have a kind of political stability in Kaduna, it's always a Christian and a Muslim. A Christian and a Muslim for a balance of power. Because the population was almost 55%, 45%, sometimes 50-50. But I think El-Rufai got to know that the demography has changed. That the Muslims, the Hausa Fulani Muslims, are now the majority in Kaduna. What did he do? He damned the consequences and said he's going to choose a Muslim deputy. The southern Kaduna people rose up and said, oh, this is injustice. That's why a lot of southern Kaduna voted for Peter Obi, because they wanted to survive. That's why they hate El-Rufai till today and everything it stands for. What happened? El-Rufai won the first time. El-Rufai won the second time. Sorry, the second time. And he does not give a damn because the demography favors him, and heaven did not fall. So if you become a minority in Nigeria, that was what Chinedu Rosevivor was doing and saying in Lagos State. What was Chinedu Rosevivor saying in Lagos State? Abusing Yoruba Obas, abusing Yoruba culture, abusing Yoruba language. His wife was saying their language, using all sorts of derogatory names. Chinedu Rosevivor follows Andus that spit bigotry on the Yoruba race. Chinedu Rosevivor says all those Ekiti Ondo, Ajoji Godogbo is on his page to this current moment. Do you know why Chinedu Rosevivor was doing that? Because they told him that the demography of Lagos has changed. The Yoruba people have become a minority. Therefore, he does not need the votes of Yoruba people to become the governor of Lagos State. That was what got into the head of Gbadebo. And more Chinedu Gbadebo is going to come for you. Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ sọ pé lọ́rọ̀ gbọ́ ni? Ntí Betty Akeredolu ṣe fún yín yẹn, ẹ̀sìn tó fi yín ṣe ní last week kò tí ì tó. Because you are a race. The Yoruba race are just like the Jews. Until they get to the Holocaust, pogrom, before they learn their lesson. Why should the Yoruba people wait until Ojukwu invaded Ore and started bombing Lagos before we determine what we are going to do at the Biafran War? We have never been a serious people when it comes to making a decision of life and death. We have never been a serious people. Why should you vote for Peter Obi before you learn Igbo is an Igbo supremacist? It shows there's a problem in your ideology. It's a problem, there's a fundamental problem. And people like us are not going to mince words. Because, Peter Obi will go down telling me, I understand where Tinubu dancing. But still, you still don't get Nigeria. You don't get it. For us to not be a minority in the next 50 years, we must have 4 kids per parent, both home and abroad. 4 kids per parent. Because the day you cease, the day Yoruba people stop being the second largest ethnic group in Nigeria, the Igbos will now be making demands. Why do the Yoruba people have 6, 7 states and we have 5? Why are the Yoruba people getting more resources and we don't get? And they are going to be giving you data. Population of Igbo is 80, 90 million. Yoruba is 60 million. And according to the constitution, and according to pre-colonial records, the Wasobia hegemony, we supposed to be on top, not them. Economy, we are contributing economic power. They are going to tell you that the Shekiri people contribute 33% to 35% of the oil and gas of Nigeria. But the Shekiri Lasso, they cannot even boast of a senator in their ancestral homeland. They cannot boast of a single polytechnic NC is not in the Shekiri land. That is where you are going to know that even if you have all the resources in the world, in a country like Nigeria, built on hegemony, look, Nigeria was not built on fairness. Nigeria was not created on justice. We are just looking for fairness and justice within Nigeria. Everything, the federating unit in Nigeria was built by military boys. How do you now want to have you now want to play fair in such a country? That is why the Igbos and the Hausa Fulanis are far more better than you. Let me tell you something. The Hausa Fulanis are suffering from terrorism today. The Igbos might be suffering from terrorism today. If they get the required power, hegemony, and find that stability, they will in the next 30, 40 years. At a point in time, the Igbos were the most politically powerful group in Nigeria. The way you guys cry about Hausa Fulani today was the way our forefathers used to shout about Igbo domination in the First Republic. In the First Republic, it was more of Igboization agenda. And now we are talking about Fulanization and Islamization. The Igbos had ultimate power in the First Republic. Let me break it down for you. Apart from the ministerial positions where they control the stock exchange, they controlled everything controllable in Nigeria. They were even the vice chancellors of all the entire universities in Yoruba land. They were controlling Lagos. They were the head of government. Azikwe was the head of government. President in Lagos. There were 4 regions in Nigeria. After 1963, we have the northern region controlled by the Hausa Fulanis, the western region controlled by Akintola, and the Midwest controlled by Osadebe and Igboman, Okpara controlling the eastern region. So out of 4 regions in Nigeria, Igbo nationalists, Osadebe was an Igbo nationalist. Igbo nationalists were controlling 2, Arewa was controlling 1, and Yoruba land was controlling just 1. And let me tell you something. The Midwest and the Eastern region controlled 90% of the entire oil and gas of Nigeria. So the keys of wealth, if there was no coup, if there was no civil war, the Igbos would have controlled the entire oil and gas of Nigeria, will be in the hands of the region of the Igbo premiers. The meaning of premiers, they are nothing but prime ministers. So if you think people that did that in the First Republic, and you think they cannot rise up again and achieve it, you are deceiving yourself. Continue to give birth to 2 children. Many of us, maybe we are going to run away. Let me tell you the truth. There are a lot of Yoruba elders in the diaspora. We've met them. A lot of people on stages have met them who refuse to come home again because they've given up on the Yoruba race. They've given up on the Yoruba race. You are a race of weak people. People who destroy themselves in order to look good in the eyes of people who don't give a damn about them. You are a people who see yourselves as superior to other Yorubas, and you want to have an opinion by saying rubbish. We don't even understand how to compartmentalize. The biggest critics of Kemi Badenoch in the UK are fellow Yorubas. The biggest critic of Kemi Badenoch in the United Kingdom, God, are fellow Yorubas. Kí dẹ̀ ní tẹ́ bá lọ bí wọ́n pé kí ni Kẹ́mi ṣe fún yín, wọ́n ní ṣé òun nìkan ni akọ ẹ̀ ti pọ̀ jù. Kó tó di MP ni mo ti di MP ní Stockport. That is the ìwé àgbèrè yẹn wọ́n ti gbẹ̀dẹ̀ UK. Ti gbẹ̀dẹ̀ UK. The biggest enemy tó kọ̀kọ́ kúkọ Rufai Osinbo àwọn new riffraff yẹn. They don't book Kemi Badenoch in Nigeria. Are the Yoruba media? The same people. If Kemi now becomes the MP, Prime Minister, see what something like June 12 happens. How are two number? Omeni Oshedi Bebe, I feel like I see the Omelomi. Bagbenti, I want Rufai Osinbo. Bagbenta Sonic Banya money. Otiwaye one sing. Sha John Tory Olorun bó lè ṣe power lobby Queen of England. Ibi tẹ́ ẹ ṣiṣẹ́ sí lẹ ti fẹ́ máa ń jẹ. Ibi tẹ́ ẹ ṣiṣẹ́ sí lẹ ti fẹ́ máa ń jẹ. That's why people like Obasanjo arose in a mist. They will fuck up the Yoruba people. They will do any rubbish to the Yoruba people and still be going around and still be working amongst us when they've done evil to us all their lives. Evil to us all their lives. Because that's the bitter truth. I'm saying it here without any apology. I'm saying it here without any apology. Those of you attacking Tinubu. In fact, I didn't even expect Tinubu to even do anything for these Yoruba people. The Igbos voted for their own son, 90%. The entire core north, Atiku won 80% of the entire core north. He won it. Tipa, and you only dìbò fọ́mọ tí 4 out of 6 in an ethnic contest. Atiku came out to say it is only a northerner, a full animal that can protect the interest of the North in Nigeria. On camera, so vote for me. We saw Igbo pastors saying that it's a turn for Igbo presidency. You vote for Peter Obi, and it was an Igbo agenda. But you always have an excuse. That's Ibaye fellow Yoruba. You will always have an excuse. Because the question I want to ask you today, if you come out to say you want to become a president of Nigeria, who exactly is going to vote for you first? You'll be counting the 6 Southwest states where you can't vote for me. That's about one Malay. I don't want to talk about what they call. That's not a big Kale. Work generation like not big Kale. Just to spite you and show that they are woke. We've seen what is happening in America. Let me tell you something in America. Donald Trump is a white nationalist. He's in control of the most powerful country on earth. He is going to empower the entire white nationalists in Europe. Europe is going to change forever. Europe is going to change forever. And how are you going to survive in that kind of a world? You cannot survive in that world where you are not politically correct, when you are still politically correct. You don't joke about your population and demographic changes. Why do you think they are stopping immigration? They are banning asylum seekers. UK is saying that if you come for asylum in our country, we will take you back to Rwanda. Why do you think they are doing? They are doing it to control their demography. Your demography matters. Your demography matters. For you to maintain political stability, you must be a majority in your land. They will usurp you, chase you out, and nothing will happen. And if you go to war, you are not sure of winning. It seems this Yoruba generation want to go to war to correct what you can correct with peace. With peace. With peace. They want to be politically correct. African Gafila, Kaboyike. There are two groups of Yoruba Timo Beruju in social media. And the Yoruba people to buy one suit. And to man Gafila yen. Àdánwò tó táwọn méjèèjì ò sí. Àwọn aládánwò tó those two groups ò sí. Once you see them on that fila, tell them what was suit. They man okay Yoruba people. Proud Yoruba people. They came out from Shani state government. And one posita. According to section 34, 37, 34, ìsọkúsọ ló ń sọ o. Ìsọkúsọ ló ń sọ o. There is nothing wrong. I will not want Nigeria. 100 slots wà ní Ogun State. Ẹ kó 90% fún Igbo now. Ẹ kó 90% fún Igbo. Káwọn Yorùbá lọ wáṣẹ́ ní private. Àwọn olórí burúkú. This is the kind of statements you see on social media, and you want us not to be conservative and radical and aggressive and assertive. Àwọn ọmọ wa ò rí iṣẹ́ POS náà ń ṣe. But you go to our important places, House of Assemblies, àwọn àjòjì ní access sáwọn politicians wa ju àwọn politicians wa ju àwa gan lọ tá a jọ ọmọ nílùú. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. This is what Yoruba conservatism is all about. Now let's talk about the topic. Ethnocide is not patriotism. Because a lot of people have been trying to redefine what patriotism is all about. They've been trying to tell us all sort of rubbish about what patriotism is all about. I am a proud Yoruba man. I am Yoruba first. I think in Yoruba. I want Yoruba civilization to survive. And I'm a Nigerian. Two truths can coexist. We are going to talk about the definition of ethnocide. I want every sons and daughters of Yoruba land listening to me to pay attention. According to Article 7 of a 1994 draft of the United Nations of Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, it uses the term ethnocide. What are the terms that can lead to ethnocide? This is what United Nations document says. When they get documents, they are brainwashing you. And today you are going to, I hope I'm going to make you more hungry tonight. I hope I'm going to make you so vexed tonight. When they start pushing genocidal agenda towards you, this is United Nations. That's why I said the Yoruba society is an politically illiterate society. Illiterate in society. Politics. Politics. Some things will not be allowed to thrive in Yoruba land. Now let's start. Indigenous people have collective and individual rights not to be subjected to ethnocide and cultural genocide anywhere they are in the world, including prevention of and redress for. 1. Any action which has the aim or effect of depriving them of their integrity as distinct people or of their cultural values or ethnic identities. 2. Any action which has the aim or effect of dispossessing them of their land, territories, and resources. What the Igbos tried in 2023 was a genocidal move, transporting over 300,000 voters to come and hijack state politics of Lagos State. When there is a history about you, the same people, for the past 80 years, trying to hijack Lagos State from the indigenous Yoruba people. Azikwe Ojukwu even wrote a letter that once they attack the Yoruba land, they are going to annex Lagos and appoint an Igbo administrator of Lagos once they capture Yoruba land. And they will now decide whether Lagos should be part of Yoruba land or part of Biafra. I'm not making this up. So that action of saying no man's land, trying to use any means, whether democracy, whether violence, whether any means to hijack any inch of Yoruba land within Nigeria, it's a form of ethnocide, it's a form of cultural genocide. So the question I want to ask you today is, say no man's land, is it again, we all develop this place together, is a genocidal remarks. Tó jẹ́ pé ìran Yorùbá jẹ́ ìran tí ó ní òye ni, tó jẹ́ ìran tó jẹ́ pé kò ń ṣe ìran tó fẹ́ parun ni, you guys would have, you will not even allow such to happen. The Benin will not allow it. Benin tó lọ join obedient. Ipe kan bá ti Yorùbá jẹ́ ní 2023 election. Benin people swap wọ́n dẹ̀ lọ dìbò fún APC in order to protect the Oba of Benin stool, because they felt it was threatened by Governor Obaseki. So àwọn yẹn ní ọpọlọ pé àwọn gbowó làwọn fi ṣiṣẹ́ fún yín ní 2023 election o. Ṣùgbọ́n wọ́n bá ti di local politics títí wá, we would do what we like to survive. And they did it. Nobody came for them. Ẹ̀yin lẹ láwọn ọmọ burúkú, àwọn ọmọ tí ẹ kọ́ tí wọ́n máa ṣílẹ̀kùn fáwọn ọ̀tá yín láti wọ́n máa bá tí yín jẹ́ kán máa pa yín. Number 3, any form of population transfer which has the aim or effect of violating or undermining any of your rights. Transferring, mobilizing 500,000 people from the southeast to the southwest is a form of genocide. It's an attack. It's a form of genocide against the Yoruba race. You can Google what I'm saying. Any form of assimilation or integration of other cultures, of ways of life imposed on them by legislative, administrative, or other measures. Femi Adebayo ṣe 18th, 19th century, writing fictions to rewrite Yoruba identity by saying a Yoruba Oba married a Yoruba Igbo woman in the 18th century, and Hausa man came with a Yoruba culture. Is a form of genocide against our identity. But Femi Adebayo is an illiterate. These people don't know. They are illiterate. They are the weapon fashioned against us as a people. Because at raise a lot of akoti later, they don't know. And there is nobody as dangerous as ignorant people. They are capable of destroying us. Now, the last point. Any form of propaganda directed against them. Tell me what I have said today that other ethnicities are not doing against the Yoruba people in Nigeria. Ethnocide. Ethnocide. And ethnocide is one of the core elements of genocide. It's a subset of genocide. So when people see that we are fighting against something, some propaganda. This is United Nations document of 1994. Now, according to San Jose, UNESCO, he defined ethnocide as this. You can Google what I'm saying. San Jose, UNESCO, he said, ethnocide means that an ethnic group is denied the right to enjoy, develop, and transmit its own culture and its own language, whether collectively and individually. This involves an extreme form of massive violation of human rights, and in particular, the right of ethnic groups to respect for their cultural identity. When an Igbo man says in Yoruba land, why are you speaking Yoruba? Start speaking that dirty language in Yoruba land. In Yoruba land. When Igbos and there are some of their South allies says someone that has zero respect for Yoruba language is the person they want to be your governor, and they are bringing money from both home and abroad, to impose such somebody on you is a form of ethnocide. It's a warfare. It's a warfare. Anybody found that is why somebody says trying to use the name of Afenifere in such blasphemy, shows the level of wrath, decadence in Yoruba land. I want to give you another example, another definition of ethnocide. The French ethnologist Roman Jaulin, he lived between the age of between 1928 to 1996. He also defined ethnocide in 1970. He said, what is ethnocide? Ethnocide is the systematic destruction of the thought and the way of life of people, different from those who carry out this enterprise of destruction. Genocide physically kills the body. Ethnocide kills the spirit. I'm going to repeat. Genocide kills the body. Ethnocide, our Yoruba bots are already gone. They've been what's the what is the benefit of what is the benefit of Yoruba culture to me? Will I use Yoruba culture to buy rice? And you are going to see those useless entities that's all disobedient. Are you going to use Yoruba identity to buy rice? If you observe what Undeyin did, David Undeyin did, specifically in the last election, was very strategic. David Undeyin attacked the Yoruba consciousness. He said, what is Yoruba identity? He said there is nothing called Yoruba culture. He said there is nothing called Yoruba people. He said he wrote it. You know, Yoruba identity, Yoruba language, Yoruba culture, but obedient for marriage. But obedient, that lunatic, God Obi wants to become the president of Nigeria. Why are you attacking our identity? Why? How does it correlate? Because they understand the fundamentals. They understand that you must destroy a people, you must destroy their culture, their identity, denigrate it, make them not proud of who they are before they are conquered. The Hausa man does not, the Igbo man does not see an Hausa man as a problem. He sees the Yoruba man as a problem. The Benin people do not see an Hausa man as a problem. They see the Yoruba man as a problem. You know why? Both of them have the agenda of dominating the southern part of Nigeria. You have their problem. Your language, your music, you need to be replaced. You need to be replaced. So we have to understand. So how is ethnocide patriotism? How can I say I think Yoruba first? The next thing you're going to tell me is, oh, you are not a patriot. You are not detribalized. Now let's talk about this, what they call the my comrades Akinleye and Michael, please. I will round up in 10 minutes. I'm just making my final submission. I'm making my final submission now. I hope people can hear me. If we need 10 minutes, I will round up now. Once it's 10 minutes, stop me, please. I want to talk about this thing they call patriotism. And I want to talk about this thing they call detribalization. Nigeria is a crazy country, made up of with a lot of crazy people. You know why? Somebody's going to say, somebody's going to say, you are a bigot, you are a tribalist. And the same lunatic will still turn around and say, I want Sharia law all over Nigeria. So makes sense. Someone is going to say, you are a bigot, you are a tribalist. And the person is going to say, Igbo are born to dominate Nigeria. Christianity will take over Nigeria. Does that make sense? Now, there is something called Christian tribalism. And Christian tribalism was what the obedient people deployed in the last election. You see, religious identity and ethnic identities are both forms of identities. I have explained this over and over and over again. Ní Middle Belt, religious identity na ń lò. Ní Corn North, religious identity na ń lò, Islamic identity ni. Ní South, wọ́n ń lo Christian identity. Ní South East, wọ́n ń lo Christian identity. In fact, they use Catholic identity. Peter Obi was subjugating Anglicans and other Pentecostals and promoting Catholicism when he was the governor of Anambra. Ní Yoruba land, Yoruba identity lẹ́yìn jẹ́. Olórí púpọ̀ kan wá kó sọ pé káyọ̀ mọ́ sọ clean Yoruba first. Ọ̀tá yín ni. Kò ń ṣọ̀rẹ́ yín. Ọ̀tá yín ni. You need to let your youths understand this fundamental. Ẹ máa kí orí wọn bá bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Ẹ máa náà kí ẹ̀ sórí wọn. Pé ò ní bá tèmi jẹ́. That's why they are targeting our youths. The obedient movement is not targeting the elders. They targeted our youths, the Southeast, and their collaborators for conquest. Because they need to use a Yoruba to destroy a Yoruba. That is why one of the reasons why they hate against Adeboye, Wole Soyinka, is that they expect those Baba to also be doing protests. Come out da Ekoru, come out da le Yorubaru. Shemo, they want to use a Yoruba to destroy a Yoruba. And because they want to gaslight them with the nonsense called competency, patriotism. And also, let us also look at the Corn North. When you look at people like Saki, that was happening, that Arewa influencer, and all his fellow extremists. No apologies. They are going to say, oh, let us forget about tribe. Let us stop tribalism. The same set of people are going to come out and say, Islam is the only solution to Nigeria's problem. They've replaced ethnic tribalism with religious Islamic tribalism. So you need to use your head. And Nigeria will say, we hate. No, they're going. If you look at those hypocrites, one audience in seeing hypocrites. They don't follow our post. They don't like it. Some of them are also some fellow Yoruba, so I want to gaba gebe. We shall succeed, and you guys are going to be put to shame. Yoruba land will become conservative, and they will stand strong. And millions of Awolowo shall rise up, millions of Akintola shall rise up, and you guys will be ashamed. Don't leave us. We will continue to do what we're doing. They are going to say, these guys are tribalists. Yoruba man pariwo. Oh, nobody should take them serious. The same people are going to clap when the president says, I am going to subsidize the price of going to Hajj. Even though we jump for 10 years, so even school, so or they will say, oh, we've given your pastor 20 slots to go to Jerusalem. They will be so happy. Now the question is, you want us to destroy our own ethnic identity for you to promote your own religious identity. Nigeria is not fair to the Yoruba people. Nigeria promotes religious tribalism, but tries to destroy ethnic tribalism. Nigeria pumps billions of naira at both local government, state, and federal level to promote religious tribalism. Why should Nigeria be sponsoring people going to Hajj in a secular country? Why should Nigeria be sponsoring people going to Jerusalem in a secular country? But when people like us say we want Yoruba civilization to govern the Yoruba-speaking part of Nigeria, you come out of your caves and start insulting us and start saying that we are tribalists. No apologies. No apologies, because The madness in Nigeria is beyond. It's like a cult of ignorance. Ṣé láwọn tó wà ignorant yẹn bí cultists ni wọ́n? Bí cultists náà ṣe operate. They're like cultists. And we're not going to be apologetic about it. To call you guys out for who you are. For who you are. For who you are. So, how can you be a patriot when you are a Christian tribalist? How can you be a patriot when you are an Islamic tribalist? Brothers and sisters, látòní lọ, Christian tribalist ní kẹ́ máa pè wọ́n. Tẹ́ bá ti rí ẹnìkan tó gbé Jesus son, Islamic Muslim tribalist ni wọ́n. They are Muslim tribalists. Àti mo ti fún yín náà terminology nìyẹn o. Muslim tribalist, Christian tribalist. If you want to destroy ethnic identity in Nigeria, no problem. All of us will cease to be Christians and Muslims. Gbogbo tó ń jẹ́ Christian, gbogbo churches ẹ máa wó. Gbogbo mosque ẹ máa wó. Tẹ́ ẹ bá ti ṣe méjèèjì yẹn, tẹ́ ẹ bá wá sọ pé you want to destroy, let us stop Yoruba and every no. I'm any problem. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So therefore, 140 years ago, we are still trying to solve our lives. And the Yoruba people, Nigeria and Benin Republic played a few days ago. The Yorubas of Benin Republic saw the Yorubas of Nigeria as enemies. Olaina was playing against Alagbe Adisa in Benin Republic. That was what the Berlin West African Conference did to us. What is the way forward? I've been talking about the problems. I've been talking, now it's time for solutions. The solution is number one, think Yoruba first. One, Yoruba land must be controlled by Yoruba people politically and economically. One, it is non-negotiable. It is off the table. It is non-explainable. It's non-explainable. But you guys are tribalists. I'm an Igbo man. I contribute tax to your country. We can't pay tax in our land, we will vote for Yoruba people. Because this country is a union of ethnic nations. No apologies. It is a union of ethnic nations. It's because we lack historical knowledge. It's the reason why we are tolerating nonsense. Yoruba people must control Yoruba land politically, economically. It is not negotiable. That is not terrorism, it's common sense. Igbos do the same thing in Igbo land. Hausa Fulani do the same thing in Hausa land. Why are you not coming to Yoruba land and saying, hey, we know other people are not doing it, but two wrongs don't make it right? You gaslighting one year. You are hardline conservatives. You come to us, you become telling us to start adopting globalist ideals. When they say you are a progressive, you are a conservative progressive. There is conservative progressiveness. Korea is progressive, but they are conservative. You insult their women, you go to jail. In Korea, in South Korea. In South Korea, there is something called conservative progressiveness. It is a term Think Yoruba First has been using for a long time. We must be conservative progressives. We must, because without Yoruba identity, Yoruba land, there is no Awoism. Okay, let me repeat it. Every single thing tó wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, látorí Cocoa House, Liberty Stadium, gbogbo Ìkẹjà housing estate, Yoruba tribalism ló build there o. Tribalism is the love for one's root. Ọmọ àlè ni ò ní fẹ́ràn ìlú ẹ o. Even the Bible is a tribalist book. It says, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Plenty only pray for the peace of Syria. Plenty only pray for the peace of Mexico. Plenty only pray for the peace of America. Plenty only pray for the peace of Philistines. Plenty only pray for the peace of Babylon. Plenty only pray for the peace of Egypt. Plenty only pray for the peace of Portsmouth. He says, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And kí ló dé táyìn náà ní máa gbàdúrà fún ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kó máa lọ ní gbogbo ìgbà, kó máa lọ síwájú ní gbogbo ìgbà. Yorùbá land is your Jerusalem. That is the land your ancestors were buried in. Nǹkan kò gbọdọ̀ ṣe, mímí kò gbọdọ̀ mí. Your great grandfathers were on that land. The relationship of an average Yoruba man with the Yoruba land is spiritual. It is spiritual. It is not physical. The transaction of Yoruba land with a Yoruba man or woman, born or yet born or 30p, it is a spiritual connection. That is why you see the Jews saying that their relationship with the state of Israel, that land is a spiritual base. So nobody in the name of Nigeria should come and be arguing with you. It is madness. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni mo ti ríbi tẹ́ èèyàn máa ṣépè fún yín. Èèyàn máa ṣépè fún yín, wọ́n máa borúkọ yín jẹ́. Wọ́n dẹ̀ tún máa àwọn ọmọ yẹn dẹ̀ tún máa dìbò fẹ́ nìyẹn. Àti ní problem o. Ìtẹ́mi mọ̀ ni pé tí àwọn èèyàn bá ń ṣe dáadáa sí yín, if people are doing well to you, if people need your vote in the way democracy all over the world, wọ́n máa dọ̀bálẹ̀ fún yín ni pé please vote for us. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni mo ti rí pé people will be cursing you. They will be cursing Wole Soyinka. They will be cursing Adeboye. They will be cursing Adefarasin. They will be calling them Kero Abiola a thief. They will be insulting Oduduwa. They will be insulting Oni of Ife. They will be insulting Alaafin of Oyo. Some people in our midst that will be one or two saying wrong when you're buying. One or people. It shows the level that our youths, especially some Yoruba youths, are mentally decadent. Something is wrong. Everything to them is cruise. Everything to them is a and if they want to mistakenly look at what happened to a guy. To ṣe nu gbẹ̀ngbẹ̀ bí ẹnu bread tó sọ sómi kan báyìí tó máa ń critic oúnjẹ. The guy used to say rubbish about Yoruba food. Ìjọ tó insult Igbo food. Wọ́n make sure pé wọ́n ban nu Instagram page. They took his image, they work and criticize Igbo food. They don't joke. They don't joke with their own identity. Women, they don't joke. They don't miss words. They protect what is their own. Ẹ̀yin lẹ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. They mama make excuses for your own identity, for your own heritage. That identity, let me tell you something. To be Yoruba, people died for it. Your Yoruba identity, some people perished because of it. Your Yoruba identity, some people went to war. Wọ́n lọ ja ogun ni láti protect ye. For you to say, I am from Ekiti State, some people fought brutal war in Ekiti Parapọ̀ war to maintain that identity. For you to say, I am from Ibadan, àwọn kan ja ogun ni, thousands of them ló perish ogun yẹn. Your Ibadan identity was forged in blood. Kìí ṣe Christianity ló forge ẹ̀, kìí ṣe Islam ló forge ẹ̀. Àwọn kan ló lọ ja ogun. Ogunmọ́lá was not a break dancer. Arekurumi was not a belly twister. She understand. Iba Oluyole was not a comedian. They were warriors. They went to war. On lefiri gbogbo lẹ́yìn. Ibadan is the biggest city in West Africa. Oh, now where are you from, Ibadan? But I'm not a tribalist. How do did you think they got that land? Were they speaking Queen's English? They went to war to got that land for you. There are historical references to it. Ibadan destroyed more than 20 cities and towns, annexed the entire Ijaye into Ibadan. To create that Ibadan, you see, millions of people perished because of it. They got that land for you, so that you are going to pass it to your children yet unborn. Shubokini won't say, you are romancing people that are saying, we will buy up your land and chase away your kings. Leko, because you don't know who you are. You don't draw boundaries. And they will say, oh, you're not a patriot. What? You're a patriot 1 year. In this same country, the Hausa Fulani defended Buhari with all his failures. In this same country, the Igbos are protecting the failures of Peter Obi. 2014, 2015, 2016, one man ṣépè fún Peter Obi lórí social media ni. As a failure, all of a sudden he became a messiah. And you now come around and say, hey, you guys, let us look at it. Tinubu is not doing Oniragbafenwe. I'm about the 2031. I don't see anything. Our man is just there. He said, I'm a temporary citizen for me. Because you think everybody's conscience can be bought with money. You think everybody has a piece of price like you. You do not have what it takes to be ideologically savvy, to defend your people and defend your space within Nigeria. You say detribalized, but what is Sharia law? What is Sharia law in Nigeria? Where you want to run a parallel constitution for Muslims in a supposedly secular country. Sure makes sense to me. Sharia law is nothing but Islamic tribalism in the core north. So during the period of Ramadan, your human rights is always abused when you live in the core north because you cannot eat in public. If you do, Islam police will catch you, which is even better for you, or you are lynched for blasphemy by the mobs. So in Nigeria, there is Islamic tribalism because Sharia law is nothing but customary law. Sharia law is customary law that was elevated. It is not different from Yoruba customary law. So they've been able to elevate Sharia law. So how can somebody that is financing Sharia law now be lecturing me about bigotry and tribalism? You get score. When you are an Islamic tribalist, when you are an Islamic fundamentalist, when you are an Islamic extremist, I am Yoruba first, you are Muslim first, you are Islamist first. I am Yoruba first, you are a Christian first. You have to see that one now. Let us be mad together. That means your own madness is towards religion. My own madness is towards ethnicity. How are you now better than me? How are you now better than me? That's why we need to liberate a lot of our Yoruba people. Some Yoruba people, what will you come abu baba atiya e? Jesus is not the Son of God. Oh, holy center. According to the book of John, Christianity, only cool to the Christianity. Ṣùgbọ́n ká ní pé ilé Ifẹ̀ o, àwọn fún ẹni 20 billion naira, àwọn fẹ́ rà á, wàá tà fún àgbàǹjo. Kò ní think twice, yóò tà lẹ́ni. Ṣùgbọ́n ẹni pé Bible àwọn fẹ́ sọ, a ní no, ìwé Ọlọ́run lélẹ́yìí. Àfidélé ológo ni wọ́n ti ẹ ti ta. He's gone. He's gone. He's a Christian tribalist. Wọ́n pọ̀ nu Muslim náà o. Ọmọ ìyá wa ní ẹ̀sìn, assalamu alaikum. Ọmọ ìyá kan náà la jẹ́ irọ́ ni o. Ọmọ ìyá lẹ jẹ́ nú ẹ̀sìn. Kí tán fìbọn fọ́ orí Kúdírát tàbí Ọlá lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Kí tán pa NKO, Moshood. Dádúró. Abiola was one of the high-ranking executives of NSCIA. When Abacha dealt with him, the entire corners talk about only custodian of Islam. They turned against Abiola. They turned against Abiola. Is Tinubu not a Muslim? Just Kuruna group, Lakurawa, like I said, the group. But you ain't see electric grid. Now sona si da, not bẹ̀rẹ̀ bomb yìnyín. Orí tí yín wà pé at the fundamentals ọmọ ẹni ò ń ṣèdí bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ká fi lẹ̀kẹ̀ sí di ọmọ ẹlòmíì. Population, we need to maintain it. Economic power, we need to maintain it. Political power, we need to maintain it. We need to defend our women. Let me tell you something. Find Egbela abroad. Don't you see the way Arabs protect their sisters and mothers? Don't you see the way Pakistanis used to protect their women? Don't you see the ways the Turks used to protect their women? To destroy a people, you must first destroy their women. I'm sorry I'm saying this in public. Why do you think they used to use rape as a weapon of war against any race? Why? Go and look at history for the past 8,000 years. Why do they used to use rape as a weapon of war? Why do you think to the Christians, when Absalom, because my focus is going to be towards Pentecostal Christians, when do you think Absalom wanted to take over the kingdom from David, the king Ahithophel asked him to do was that he should go and start sleeping with the wives and concubines of his father? Why? Ask yourself why. Because women are secured. They are the stream. They are the source. Women are the custodians of Yoruba civilization. Àwọn women, Yoruba women yẹn, làwọn ìran kan. They attack them every day. The reason why you see Yoruba men not respecting Yoruba women anymore is because of the constant hatred against Yoruba women. So a lot of Yoruba men now feel ashamed of marrying their women. What he gaslights you, what he rubbish Yoruba women. And that method has been working. So Nigeria is not a nation, it's a country of ethnic nations. Oníkálukú ló ní boundary ẹ̀. And we need to continue talking. We need to be organized. We need to be intentional. If you are not from our side, you cannot control our politics. We don't want you. If you are brilliant, go back to your land and go and give them that brilliance. No race in Nigeria is as intelligent as the Yoruba race. I have no apologies for saying that. There is nothing you want to boast of. You don't have time. Instead, intellectuals all across the world. So what are you now coming to bring? What are you coming to bring to the table? So what are you coming to come and teach us? Our youth might be ignorant politically, but our young are intelligent. Ọpọlọ tó yẹ kán fi lò, kán fi defend ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, òun náà fi lọ support àwọn Igbo against àwọn Yorùbá ẹgbẹ́ wọn. Till the earth, till eternity, Yoruba will continue to be Yoruba. Igbo will continue to be Igbo. Hausa will continue to be Hausa. Kò sí tó ń jẹ́ pé a máa mix gbogbo ẹ̀ papọ̀. Kò sí tó ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Kò sí tó ń jẹ́ melting pot o. United Kingdom has been like that for close to 900 years. You have the Scots, you have the English, you have the Welsh, you have the Irish. In the United Kingdom, kò dẹ̀ sí tó ń jẹ́ I am Scottish English. I am Yoruba Igbo. Ṣé àwọn ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ rubbish yẹn? I am Yoruba Igbo. Ẹ sì mọ̀ pé wèrè ti gbé abala wèrè lélẹ̀. Kí ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀? Kí ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀? When the Hausa Fulani kan ti ń jọra wọn pa àwọn iṣẹ́ Hausa Fulani. Hausa is Hausa, Fulani is Fulani. Àti láwọn ọmọ náà dandan kan láàrin wa tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ rádaràdá yẹn. Because we didn't pay attention to what we need to do. That's why people like us are here. And we dedicated our life to fight for this struggle. What I will never fight for will never be destroyed. Akintola spilled his blood. What I'm saying is not different from what Akintola was saying. That's why they say, oh, Awolowo was a liberal. Awolowo was a father of Yoruba nationalism. Awolowo will be proud to listen to what I'm doing today. Awolowo will be proud with the entire Yoruba nationalists. Because this is what he fought for. And they hated him for it. Because once you start speaking up for the Yoruba people, they start planning your destruction. Anybody who stands up for the Yoruba people is an enemy of some people in Nigeria. The Scots are proud to fight for the interests of Scots in the United Kingdom. The Irish are proud for the first time since close to 200 years. The Irish are the Sinn Féin party, the Irish Nationalist Party, are now controlling Northern Ireland. Do you know when Ireland broke away from United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, which is the Ulster region, was still part of United Kingdom? The Protestants, which are the descendants of Irish settlers, of English and Scottish settlers, àwọn monarchy England wọ́n lọ kó wọn sí area Ireland yẹn láti subjugate, láti gba ilẹ̀ yẹn lọ́wọ́ àwọn Irish ni. So àwọn yẹn ni wọ́n lọ fi ṣèjàmbá fún wọn. Irú àwọn tó lọ transfer 500,000 votes PVC. The way they were transferring it from the southeast into Lagos State to hijack Lagos State from the Yoruba is not different from what the English monarchy did 300, 400 years ago to take that part of Ireland from the Irish. Now, as at after 1920, 1921, Ireland broke away from United Kingdom. But that part called Northern, that's why we have two islands, Northern Ireland and Ireland. But something happened. Àwọn Irish tó wá kù ní Northern Ireland, population wọn kéré. They were just 30%. As of 1970, the Irish were just 30% of the population of Northern Ireland. But something, if anybody say population does not matter, is a fool. I'm saying it, you are a fool. I'm not going to miss words with you. You are a fool. You are a fool. The vote in Kano is almost 2.5 million. Is enough to cater for the entire vote in the southeast. The vote in Kano alone, we cancel the entire vote in the southeast. So Hausa Fulani does not even need to, they don't even need to break sweat. One can already dìbò lójú kan ní Kano ni. A dẹ̀ neutralize gbogbo òbò tó bá wà ní southeast. Ṣé ibi tẹ́ fẹ́ báyé Yorùbá jẹ́ dé nìyẹn? Is that where you are pushing us? Kí ìbò Enugu come and cancel gbogbo southwest. And you are not going to ever go suit òṣì, ẹ máa kó sọ́rùn. We are educated. Tẹ́ ẹ bá ti ní political power, ẹ máa fọ pátá àwọn tó ní political power ni ẹ máa ṣe ọmọ ọ̀dọ̀ ni. Ọmọ ọ̀dọ̀ lẹ máa ṣe. Ẹni tó ní top class yóò máa pass, tó ní pass á máa pàṣẹ fún ẹni tó graduate ní Harvard. Ẹ tún máa jẹ kòbókò. Àtòrí gidi wọ́n nà yín ẹ máa ní yes sir with all your useless Harvard because you lack political power. You lack political power because you refuse to give birth. Just give birth to 4 kids per Yoruba family. And we are going to survive for another 100 years. And 4 kids is still much. But enjoy Yoruba conservative. We don't want you. Go back to Peter Obi camp. Go back there. Go back there. Instead of thinking, we're going to survive this economic, okay, what do we do economically to empower? Should we go into farming? Farming IT skills, little businesses. How do we take care of quality education? That's what you should be thinking. While we know economic is hard, how do we protect our economy? How do we do that? How do we balance things? African man, he just likes insulting people. Why won't I insult Akotileta? Akotileta ni torí irú yín igi elera lè máa gbé wá sínú ilé for everybody. So going back to the history of Ireland, the English settlers were Protestants. Àwọn máa ń lo contraceptives, but according to Catholicism, abortion, contraceptives is forbidden. Coupled with the fact that the Catholics, the Irish who are Catholics, had an agenda. Wọ́n dákẹ́ wọn ò sọ̀rọ̀. They waited for 100 years. Wọ́n dẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí bí 666 children. 666 children. And they were able to now change within the space of 100 years. Irish became a majority in Northern Ireland, while the Scottish and English that used to be 70% majority became a minority, and Sinn Féin became the political party for the first time ever leading Ireland. Shall the first thing Sinn Féin saw? Only yes, what our forefathers have promised us has happened today. This happened just last year. Last year, iṣẹ́ tí Sinn Féin dẹ̀ ń ṣe ni how they are going to unite Northern Ireland and Ireland and undo the damage the British did to them 300, 400 years ago. Brothers and sisters, I know I must have spoken harsh words. Wọ́n ní tọ́mọ ìyá bá jọ wọlé tánjọ rẹ́rìn jáde wọ́n tanra wọn ni. No Yoruba is more Yoruba than each other. Ọlọ́run dára sí ìran Yorùbá. I don't want us to perish, because no politician will say what I'm saying publicly. No pastor will say what I'm saying publicly. I am saying things that is forbidden. I know many of us are putting our life on the line because some people want us to be in chains so that we are not going to liberate our people with the word of our mouth, with the truth. To my Yoruba Pentecostals, I don't hate you. I just, because you are educated, you are a middle class, and you are important for this struggle. Please, you shall know the truth shall set you free. Into spirituality, we must survive. Survival is the first law of nature. Torí tẹ́ ẹ bá survive, pàṣán tí wọ́n fi na Yorùbá Christians, òun náà ni wọ́n fi na Yorùbá Muslims, òun náà ni orúkọ wọ́n fi na Yorùbá Ìṣẹ̀ṣe. Torúkọ rẹ̀ bá ti ń jẹ́ Adékúnlé, torúkọ rẹ̀ bá ti ń jẹ́ Ṣùbòmí, torúkọ rẹ̀ bá ti ń jẹ́ Aṣíwájú, ó jẹ́ bí kòbókò yẹn o. Wọ́n lè ní Christian ni wọ́, Muslim ni wọ́, lọ bá wọn Yorùbá Muslims tán gbé Northern Nigeria. Ní riot wọn sábà spear wọn o. They treat them like other people. That's the bitter truth. Please, God will help us. Olódùmarè will help us. The Almighty Allah help us. We need to pay attention to our local politics. Ogun State kò sí ló ní the highest number ilé iṣẹ́ ní gbogbo West Africa. Tí Ogun State bá jẹ́ pé 80% tí àwọn tán fún níṣẹ́ lógun State ọmọ Yorùbá ni wọ́n, kò sí ọmọ Yorùbá kankan tí ò ní ní iṣẹ́ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Pé táwọn àjòjì ló kún bẹ́ẹ̀ torí pé a lo ọpọlọ tiwa. Meanwhile, wọn ò ní fáwa níṣẹ́ tẹ́ ẹ bá lọ ìlú tiwọn, wọn ò ní fún yín, wọn gba yín dànù ni. Ntẹ ẹ̀yin ò tí ì jẹun yó, ntẹ kẹ́yìn náà jẹun yó, oúnjẹ ọmọ ẹ tún fún ajá, ẹ tún fún ajá. Thank you everybody once again. May Almighty God continue to be with us. This is the end of my lecture today. Àwọn ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n méjì míì wà lórí ìjókòó tí wọ́n bá wa sọ̀rọ̀. I'm going to hand over to the moderator before they call them. I'm talking about Àṣírí ọ̀rọ̀ and Akínlẹ́yẹ. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ o. Olódùmarè á wà pẹ̀lú yín o. Ẹ ṣé o. Ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ o. Moderator.
Wow. Oh, all right. Are, thank you so much. Ẹ ṣé gidi gan ni. Wow, that was powerful. Thank you so much, Are. Thank you. So, in the meantime, if Akinyele is ready to come on board, so if you can come on board, sir, please. Thank you.
Ẹ lè pe Àṣírí ọ̀rọ̀.
Okay, Ashirioro, are you ready? Yeah, if Ashirioro can.
Hello.
Okay, hello, yeah.
Yeah, ẹ kú
Ẹ káàbọ̀.
àtàrà. Ẹ
Yeah.
kú. Ààrẹ ti sọ ọ̀sọ̀gbọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ pé tí.
It's not audible. I don't know
Hello.
why.
Hello.
À
Am
ń
I
gbọ́ yín.
audible?
À ń gbọ́ yín, à ń gbọ́ yín.
Hello, à ń gbọ́
Okay.
yín, ẹ fire on.
Okay. Ààrẹ ti sọ gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ tí a nílò láti sọ. Nǹkan tó kù báyìí ọ̀rọ̀ wa ló kù sí. Nǹkan tó kàn ṣe pàtàkì jù nínú gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ò ju pé bí Yorùbá ṣe di èrò oríṣiríṣi country láti Nàìjíríà dé Benin dé Togo, a lè lọ sí diaspora oríṣiríṣi ibi làwà. Kí la fẹ́ ṣe sí? Nítorí pé lójú tèmi àkànní máa bá lọ báyìí sílẹ̀ àti láìláì. Berlin conference tí wọ́n affect life gbogbo wa tó pín wa ká tó pín wa káàkiri, àwọn ẹnìkan náà jókòó nínú ilé wọn tí wọ́n dẹ̀ rò pé òkè àwọn fẹ́ ṣe nǹkan báyìí wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe. So ṣáwa náà lè jókòó ká mú nǹkan, kò sí bóyá fẹ́ tóbi tó, kò sí bóyá fẹ́ le tó, kò sí bóyá fẹ́ lágbára tó pa fẹ́ ṣe, ká dẹ̀ tiraka lọ́nà bá ṣe fẹ́ wádìí ẹ̀ láti rí ṣe. And I think that is really for me when every year when this day pass, that's what I think about, is that some people shaped our reality, yes, to serve their purpose, but they took culture to shape our reality. Are we willing to stand up, accept the challenge, and make choices to shape our own reality, or are we at the point where, which is something that, as far as I saw, a lot of people will consider to be elite or having the relevant ability to, that people that we think, yes, you should know better, you should fix these things, and in many other forms, a lot of them have reached a point whereby they either are satisfied with the status quo, or they are actively working to essentially continue the dream of whatever it is. Be it the Berlin conference, be it Lugard, because Taba saw one Nigeria. Tẹ́ ẹ bá ka ìwé dé ibì kan máa rí i pé aláwọ̀ Nàìjíríà àti ẹnu ṣé góòlì kọ́ ni ló ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. And tẹ́ bá dẹ̀ lọ wo bó ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ wọn Nàìjíríà in more than a century ago, the writings on literally where they start mentioning that unification of that space, they will keep telling you how difficult, literally how impossible it is. Like they know it is difficult, they know it's impossible, but they just did it anyway because for them it served a purpose. And yes, look, to give the people who have the Nigerian dream, to give them their respect. We've all, and òótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ tí gbà mí táwọn èèyàn kìlọ̀ ní pé gbogbo wa láti débẹ̀ rí láti wò pé Nigeria ní the Nigeria dream, yes, the dream has that potential that everybody thinks about. Like, yes, that dream, that potential, pé wow, to be able to challenge the world. And we've seen that dream in many forms. Láti ìlú sí ìlú, tá a bá wo America, tá a bá wo China, because those are like the two big countries. Tá a máa ń fi bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ fi compare. Òótọ́ ni that's having that power, that population, that landmass, having that dream, yes, ó ṣe pàtàkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ìyàtọ̀ láàrin Nàìjíríà àti àwọn ìlú yẹn kì í wò. And ibi tí wàhálà tẹ́ pé we cannot achieve that dream, and that is where the fundamental problem lies. Tá a tẹ̀ kí n rí. When we are just looking at the Nigeria dream, bó ṣe wá láti orí Nigeria is that we are not America. America is a white majority nation that is built on top of the decimation of the indigenous people. We are not that. Ó ní ìdí táwọn tó ṣe America táwọn create a country yẹn ní Europe, ní gbogbo Europe, kò sẹ́ni tó create a country yẹn. Gàtọ́ fẹ́ create a country yẹn, wọ́n bọ́ sí Australia, wọ́n bọ́ sí Canada, wọ́n bọ́ sí America, wọ́n bọ́ sí New Zealand. Ibi tán create àwọn country mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rin yẹn that anybody can go and become anything sí nìyẹn. Wọ́n ṣe níbi ìtàn Europe. Kì í ṣe pé wọ́n gọ̀, kì í ṣe pé wọ́n gọ̀, ẹgbẹ́ wọn mọ̀ nǹkan tán ṣe. Àwọn náà ṣàlọ́ create create tàn ṣe sí Europe. And àwọn questions tó ṣe pàtàkì lábẹ́rẹ̀ nìyẹn. Táwọn wo China náà pé yes, China has done it, that dream. Journey ti China délé ni. Wọ́n ti ń lo journey yẹn kó ti wọ́kọ̀ tó máa sọ lábẹ́rẹ̀ ìtàn wọn fún yín, wọ́n máa sọ 5,000 years ago. Like sometimes wípé iṣẹ́ ta fẹ́ ṣe ká lè bá mọ nǹkan tí ó nílò gbà mí láti débẹ̀ 5,000 years ago. And China bó ṣe wà lẹ́nu ìsìn tẹ́ bá wo kó lè wọ́n tóbi tó tán pọ̀ tó tán fẹ́ tó 90% ìlú yẹn and Chinese ní ethnicity kan. So nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ kí ìlú ga ìlú tòrò kò at the end of the day gbogbo ala mọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n the dream sometimes gets the better of many of us and we need to transition before it because bá a dẹ̀ ṣe sọ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn tó wá ṣáájú wa ni wọ́n sọ ẹ̀mí nù. Like many sacrifices were made to make sure that Yoruba continue to exist, Yoruba thrive, Yoruba survive. Even before the era of the British or the colonial era, many sacrifices were made to ensure that Yoruba was a relevant geopolitical force in our space. Even beyond our space, but let's just say, okay, within the West African space. Like, yes, it's a lot of effort were put in place. Are we going to look at all of that history? And our answer to it is that, yeah, it's a wrap. Let us move on. Old things are gone. We are in a new dispensation. Takama was síwájú. That's the other thing. Was síwájú Africa. Because we have 54 nations. Well, we call it nations, but they're just countries in Africa. And nearly none of it makes sense. We keep seeing internal crisis upon internal crisis. So literally speaking, every single African country you look at, maybe except Botswana, and probably except Mauritius, it is internal crisis upon internal crisis upon internal crisis. That's what you'll be saying. And when you look at the history of that internal crisis, the story of one nation, you can easily transplant it to any other nation because it follows the same pattern. It's about a group A, group B, maybe group C and group D. They don't agree. That's usually what it tends to be. Belo Congo, that's just the extreme form of Bafa. Because in Rwanda, that's like another extreme form. Like those are like, yes, the true extreme forms. Totally logical. But every other state in Africa, when we look at Sahel, because since I deal with Lenny, it is a direct consequence of that history. Because when we hear jihadists in the Sahel, if you look at it very well, the people that form jihadists tend to come with a particular group within the country. and they will tell you their particular acts against the country. Òótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà ń bẹ nìyẹn. Àwọn òótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ nínú àwọn issues yìí tá kì í gbé wò nìyẹn. The Berlin Conference has carved our reality today. After 140 years, it's still relevant to our reality today. We can't deny it. It's not that we are saying that I'm throwing blame around, it's just the truth. And we've seen that we are unable to move on from it because that reality does not work. We keep fighting against it, even if we don't realize it. Yes, it's easy to say we don't realize it, but every day on this platform, what we get some people shouting is that, tribalism, bigotry. The answer is one Nigeria. Because if Nigeria exists, you don't need to keep shouting one Nigeria. And sometimes that's the truth of what many people don't see. If something exists, you don't need to be begging people, forcing people, putting a gun to the eye that you must either be a part of it or not. And that is the conundrum we found ourselves. That what are we? Why are we here? And what is the path forward? And for us as Yoruba people, we need to sit down, look into these issues and decide what our interests are. Because look, Yoruba is not just a Nigerian people. And that is when, to be fair, we've, as a collective, we've done a very poor job in educating our people for them to remember that Yoruba is not a Nigerian people. Yes, Nigeria has the largest population, and with that, it's easy for us to forget that we are not a Nigerian people. And that is something that's important for us to rectify, whereby our people, on average, understand, yes, Yoruba is not a Nigerian people. And that crisscrossing of um, communication between all of us, we must figure out the way that we'll do it. It is important because the more you talk to people, the more you understand their plight. Because our people outside of Nigeria have plights that many of us in Nigeria don't know. And if we keep ignoring those plights, it will keep building distrust amongst us, which we've done a very good job from the last time we have this epic distrust till now to resolve it. It will be very, very crucial for us not to ever fall back into that fault again. But my point is just that we need to look forward truly, yes, but we cannot look forward without looking at the past and restoring a lot of what we have lost. And it's that restoration process that many people are literally afraid of, because for some people it's because of dogma towards Nigeria and desire to be like, if they restore it will affect their Nigerian dream, in quotes. And good for them. They are free to have that belief, but we can't let that stop us. And for others is that they have ideological pursuits that they fear that the more Yoruba gets assert itself, that it might end up in a reality where the ideological pursuits becomes irrelevant, and they don't want that, or rather, they don't want that. And those are things that everybody needs to understand, that the fate of Yoruba as a collective neither rests in your desire to be your desires within your desires as part of whether it is you desire individually or whatever in Nigeria. Neither does it rest on your ideological pursuits. It's on all Yoruba people to decide our future together. And it's important for us as individuals to understand that yes, we all have preferences. When we sit down and start listing our preferences, we will say that yes, we all have preferences of what, yes, this is what Yoruba should be. But àwa náà làwọn fi hàn wá sọ wípé ọmọgùdé gbọ́n àgbà gbọ́n la fi dá lè fẹ́. So you cannot let your individual pursuit or desire override the wishes of the collective. And I think we need to get back to that position whereby we push the collective forward. We need to figure out the way whereby we get to give more opportunities to our people. Because a people that cannot feed themselves have difficulty also standing up and fighting for themselves. Because it takes energy to do those things. Being here today, either talking or listening, it takes energy. It takes being comfortable. It takes not having issues, be it health, be it hunger, be it headache. It takes a lot of things to just be here today. And the more we can afford our people opportunities to be able to gain value and grow, the more they will be able to now pursue desires that is just beyond the basic needs that they need from day to day. So that's just what I want to say. It's not as harsh and as long as I've said everything like he always does, but it's just that for people to just know something very important, that a lot of blood, we lost a lot to be conquered into Nigeria. We've lost a lot to be within Nigeria, but we must not lose our souls regardless of what we lost. It took the Irish. Again, I mentioned it, and it's important to say it because people tend to not know this things. It took the Irish people 800 years in servitude of being conquered and under the British thumb. It used to be, you can Google it, it used to be United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. Ireland was not even part of the United Kingdom. They are just there. That territory they control. Ireland, the country, the Republic of Ireland, fought, literally fought, and they got out. But they not got all of their lands out, but they got out majority enough of it, and they just left. And when they left, look, it wasn't roses. It was difficult. And the people in Northern Ireland were happy they stayed. Going back centuries down the line, the stories is different now. Ireland is now in a position whereby they're able to now enjoy the benefits of the hard work that they've put in for a while, for ages, for centuries. They've begun the journey to bring back their languages. It's not yet there, but in the next generation or two, they are going to delegitimize English in favor of Gaelic. They are able to now get their kids fully educated, fully fluent in Gaelic, all the way up to secondary school. But they still teach them Gaelic because their university is still in English and they still need to, be competitive in the world. But within the next two generations, they'll probably be able to have fully grown up adults that can actually speak fluent Gaelic, not just what they have now, adults that just know a few phrases. You see many kids in that country that are like our kids that can't speak Yoruba, but when they start speaking Gaelic to you fluently, fully says full speeches in Gaelic, you start sitting and just start shaking your head like why? It's just important sometimes to get the narrative. But to back what I was saying, they've put in the hard work to get where they are today. Not Ireland now with the whole Brexit thing, the economic crisis, and many things that's happening. Not Ireland now is lamenting because one of the very fundamental issues that happened when Brexit happened, we went back to the Good Friday Agreement that came about because of the IRA issue in the 90s, which is you cannot put a hard border, meaning that you have to get visa to cross from here, from Ireland to Ireland, between Ireland and Northern Ireland. You cannot put a hard border between them. And that thing is a cause of problem during Brexit. Because by virtue of Brexit,
Thank you so much. I don't know. Can everybody hear me?
hello, am I
We can't
audible?
hear. Yeah, you sir, but just within seconds now, we lost you.
Okay,
Are you
sorry.
still on, sir?
Yeah, I'm just about to be done. So what I was saying
Okay.
is, by virtue of Brexit, Ireland and Northern Ireland are not in the same country. Northern Ireland is in the United Kingdom. There needs to be a border between them. But they both fought against it such that you cannot have a border between them. And it's important for us to understand that.
We can't hear you again, sir.
mm,
Yeah, but since you said you are just about to round up, ọmọ Yorùbá, ẹja ronú ẹ ti gbọ́ o. A lot.
No, he's audible here now. I can
Oh,
hear
okay.
him.
Sorry,
Okay,
I can't hear him.
let me just
You go
round
out
up.
and come in.
Yeah, my finishing thought is that our story is not unique on this planet. Our reality is not unique. You look on a long and you find instances of it. China was taken by the Japanese for like they suffered a sense of humiliation. They were under Japanese yoke. The British, the West, they like decimated their people with the opium trade and many more atrocities. Korea suffered so many fates for also similar, but they're able to pull themselves out. We we need to find a way to pull ourselves out of this mess, and it takes hard work and it takes a lot of us rising beyond our personal desires and grudges. And it is important for us to do the job because nobody is coming to do the job for us. No Messiah is coming to do the job for us, and no aliens will solve your problems for you. It is all on your head. If you invite an alien into your matter, well, whatever you see, take it like that. We've done it before. We saw where that's where we end up or where we are today. Because we invited aliens to come and help us in brotherly fight. And it's important for us to learn from that lesson that we need to solve our matters internally and we need to go together as a force towards whatever it is we desire to do against the rest of humanity. So thank you so much for today.
Thank you so much, Speaker. We really appreciate you, sir. Shegoni. So the third speaker, if you can come up, but please let us be mindful of time. Nítorí àsìkò wa. Yeah, nítorí a ṣì máa ṣe question and answers as well. So third speaker, can you please unmute your mic? That's Mr. Akinyele. So if you can unmute your mic, sir, please.
It's not here. It's not here. I don't think it's here.
Oh, it's not in the room. Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, we can go to question and answer whilst we're waiting for him because of our time. So, Mr. Sunday Clement, if you can please unmute your mic, please.
Charlie, time one. Name 5 minutes.
No, it's just a question. So we are 2 minutes, yeah, for questions. Yeah. Mr. Sunday Clement, can you unmute your mic, please?
Yes, mo kí gbogbo ilé o. Èmi mi ò ní ìbéèrè ṣùgbọ́n ó kàn ní àwọn kan tí èmi fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ nípa. Ṣé mo lè tẹ̀síwájú?
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ẹ tẹ̀síwájú, sir.
Okay, yeah, ẹ ṣé. Àwọn kan tí èmi fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ní pé àkíyèsí gbogbo everybody, gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá sí náà ni pé thinking Yorùbá first ó wà fún, kì í ṣe fún bóyá ọ̀rọ̀, kì í ṣe political party, kì í ṣe pé bóyá fún party kan or party kejì. So thinking Yorùbá first ó lè jẹ́ PDP or APC or any political party, but nǹkan tí à ń sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí ni pé nínú gbogbo nǹkan tí a bá ń ṣe a gbọ́dọ̀ ní lọ́kàn pé Yorùbá ni kí ó máa jẹ́ àkọ́kọ́. You have to think Yorùbá first nínú gbogbo nǹkan tí a bá ń ṣe, níbikíbi tí a bá wà níbi iṣẹ́ ni a ní láti jẹ́ kí a máa ní èrò lọ́kàn pé ìkan àkọ́kọ́ tí a gbọ́dọ̀ ní lọ́kàn ni ìran Yorùbá, torí pé láìsí ìran Yorùbá àwa tí a wà tá a wà lẹ́ni a ò lè sí. So wà ní láti mójútó nǹkan yìí, láti máa sọ àti pé láti pe àkíyèsí àwọn ọ̀dọ́ náà sí gbogbo nǹkan tí a ń sọ yìí. Gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ tá a sọ lẹ́ni lóòótọ́ ó lè jẹ́ pé fún àwọn míì wọ́n ṣe máa gbọ́ àbí bí òye ṣe yé wọn sí ó lè má tó, ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀rọ̀ yìí àwọn kan tá a ń sọ lónìí nísìnyí ó wà, kì í ṣe fún àwa nìkan, kì í ṣe fún generation, it's not for this generation precisely.
ṣẹ́yìn kọ́kọ́ sọ̀rọ̀.
Mo ń sọ̀rọ̀, ṣé ẹ gbọ́ mi ṣá?
Wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀,
ṣé ẹ ń gbọ́ mi?
Mo ń gbọ́ yín, à ń gbọ́
Okay.
yín, àgbọ́yé.
À ń gbọ́ yín.
Gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe ń sọ, gbogbo kan tí a ń sọ lénìí kì í ṣe fún generation wa nìkan. Lóòótọ́ ọ̀pọ̀ nínú wa ti wà ní most of àwọn wà nírọ̀lẹ́, mi wà lọ́sàn-án, mi wà lálẹ́, ṣùgbọ́n gbogbo impact gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ tí a ń sọ lónìí gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ṣe ń gbọ́ àwọn kan tí àwọn aṣáájú wa náà sọ, tí a ń kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ nínú ẹ̀ kó lórí pé gbogbo àwa náà decide pé nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá kò gbọ́dọ̀ continue, a ní láti gbé ìgbésẹ̀. The same way now in the next 50-100 years náà làwọn generation mi náà a tún máa gbọ́, a tún máa play gbogbo video voice tá ń filẹ̀ lénìí. So a nílò láti pé a jẹ́ kí àwọn Gen Z, àwọn younger generation mọ̀ pé tí wọ́n là ń ṣe àwọn nǹkan tá a dẹ̀ ń sọ náà fún àǹfààní ìran Yorùbá ni. Ẹ ṣeun.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, sir. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Thank you so much for that insightful submission. Thank you very much. Ó yà pé Mr. Akinyele came in just now. Mr. Akinyele.
Can you hear me now? Am I
yeah,
audible?
we can hear you. Yes, please, we can. Yeah.
Thank God.
Fire on, sir. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
I'm going to try to make it brief because I sure I said a lot of things that needed to be said. But I spoke earlier before Are was having issues. I started with talking about how I had only remembered day before yesterday that yesterday was the anniversary of the beginning of the Berlin Conference. And the reason why that's the case is because as significant as the Berlin Conference is, it's not an event that is in the consciousness of a lot of African people, myself included. It is something that we don't remember. It's something we forget, despite the fact that it is the single most important event in the entire African history, like the history of the entire continent as a whole. That event, I do not know of any other event that is as historic and as historically relevant as that event. It is something that children should have been learning in school. Instead, a lot of us would learn about Mongo Park Discovery River Niger. A lot of us will learn about unimportant things that have no relevance to our political lives or our social lives, but we do not learn about the importance of the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885. So this is where I wanted to start my talk from, as how it shows how politically illiterate we are as African people. I don't even want to just speak specifically about Yoruba people, but as African people as a whole. Yesterday was a day 140 years after the beginning of this conference. I checked, and not a single African government made any statement on this. There are no politicians who are making statements on this. In fact, in Europe, it is a much more important or bigger discussion in Europe than it is in Africa, even though it has no effect on Europeans today, but it has utmost effects on Africans today. We don't know about this thing. We did not know when it was happening. I made a trend yesterday. It's pinned on my profile. We didn't know when this conference was happening. We're not told, we're not invited. Neither do we even remember to teach our children, to teach ourselves, and to discuss about these things yearly. How can we then address the issues that we're having? People are talking about one Nigeria, one Nigeria. We cannot solve the problem of that these African countries are facing without first understanding the origins. None of these countries that exist today on the African continent, perhaps except Swaziland and maybe Morocco. And there's a reason why these are the only two independent monarchies we have. None of these countries, or maybe also Ethiopia, if we go back to the fact that Ethiopia used to be the Abyssinian Empire, but most of the African countries that we have today, none of them were created by the initiative of the people who are citizens of that country. They were all created by Europeans deciding that, oh, here, straight line here, straight line there. This is your country. All of you accept this name. Be you now Nigerian, be you now Ghanaian, or then Gold Coast, be you now Dahomey, now Benin Republic, be you now Togo, so on and so forth. Nigeria was not created by Nigerians. We do not address the issue. We do not learn how Nigeria came to be. We do not learn the history of these problems that we are facing. A lot of people talk about, oh, tribalism this, tribalism that. How would we as a people not have that problem of tribalism when we never agreed to be together in the first place? There's never been that agreement. So if we talk about the topic of this space today, ethnocide versus patriotism, it still ties in with the Berlin Conference, because the very idea of being patriotic to a colonial invention is absurd. We as a people, as Nigerians, we claim we got independence in 1960. Okay, fine. But independence is not just now having people that have your skin. in the offices that used to be occupied by colonial administrators. Independence really means you actually have the power now to implement your own ideologies, to implement your own internal and foreign policies. What are Nigeria's internal policies? What are Nigeria's foreign policies? It is very, very directionless in terms of these two directions, in terms of foreign policy, in terms of internal policy. It is very directionless. So how can you be patriotic to a country that does not have a direction? The only thing that we can derive any sense of true meaning for ourselves as citizens of any of these African countries is to go back to our cultures, to go back to our ethnicities. But yet we are met with the conundrum of, okay, going back to these ethnicities, picking up these ethnic identities, then we are met with this problem of how can we hold on to our ethnic loyalties without being met with the problem of either being patriotic or unpatriotic to the nation states. So this is the problem that African countries face. Ashirago made one statement that Europeans were creating countries elsewhere, but they did not create countries in Europe. They created America, they created Canada, created Australia, New Zealand, so on. Also obviously created countries in Africa, but they didn't create countries in Europe. A slight correction, they actually did create countries in Europe, around the Balkan areas, but the other way around, or with a different intention. So even before the Berlin Conference of 1884-1885, there was the Berlin Congress, not to be confused with the Berlin Conference. There was the Berlin Congress of 1878. This was just a few months after the Turkish-Russian War, which the Russians won a lot of territories from the Ottoman Empire. So the Ottoman Empire used to control a lot of areas in modern-day Eastern Europe. And the Russians were also having their own imperial ambitions, which clashed. The Russians and the Ottoman Empire clashed around that Eastern Europe. And when the Russians won this war, it has decided, okay, so a lot of all these Eastern European, these Balkan ethnicities that used to be under the Ottoman empires, they've been under the Ottoman empires for hundreds of years now. They need their own self-determination. In fact, it is during this period that the idea of self-determination became a thing anywhere in the world. That it became a thing of like, oh, it is a human right for you to have self-determination. Europeans applied this logic, applied this intention to themselves, because they saw people of the Balkans as people that looks like them. But they didn't apply this logic to Africans, not even to the extent of even having the decency to invite any African representative to the Berlin Conference. So how can we truly, as Africans who are living in 2024, 140 years after this Berlin Conference, truly tell ourselves that it makes any sense for us to be patriotic to any of these African states? When they were creating these Balkan countries, the likes of Bulgaria, Armenia, so on, they were creating these countries with the idea that these people have an ethnic history. So when they created Bulgaria, created all these other Balkan countries, they were doing this with the intention of, oh, okay, these people have their own culture, they have their own history that goes far before the Ottomans came to disrupt their civilization. And this was recognized. The idea of them also being Christians or Muslims also played a role in the things that were discussed in the Berlin Congress. None of that played a role in the things that were discussed in the Berlin Conference just a few years later, because this was talking about Africans and not fellow Europeans this time. And so we, as people who would pride ourselves as being educated in the modern world in this century, we need to continue to question a lot of the things that happened in the past that affects how we are today. Because we can complain and complain and complain, but if we do not address those issues, we cannot have any successes, we cannot have any progress, we can't solve any problem. There can't be any solution. We can't keep going forward with just complaining, oh, Nigeria is not good. Nigeria is not good. How do you fix Nigeria? We talk about the American dream. What is the Nigerian dream? If I have to think and say one thing, it is Nigeria's dream is to be one Nigeria. But how can you be one Nigeria without ethnocide? You have to kill the Yoruba, you have to kill the Igbo, you have to kill the Hausa, you have to kill the Idoma, kill the Ijo for you to have a one Nigeria. How many of us are willing to sacrifice, or how many Nigerians do you see are willing to sacrifice? Perhaps only the Yoruba, because there are a lot of Yoruba people who appear to be very willing to sacrifice their Yorubaness for this one Nigerian dream. Perhaps. But we need to ask ourselves important questions. And yesterday was a very good day for us to have, was a very good opportunity for us to have this type of conversations of our past, our present, and our destiny. But African countries, year in, year out, we don't have these conversations. In fact, it is even in Europe, white people are the ones who they help us to have these conversations. Again, repeating the same failures that we've continued to repeat for generations, and it's still the same failures that we are likely to repeat for generations to come. Because we don't know these things. We don't know how important this history is. How can we then know how to forge a path forward? So that's just it. I would leave this at that, and maybe the conversation will continue as we continue to have discussions and questions. Thank you.
Wow, Mr. Akinyele, thank you so much, sir. Can two work together except they agree? Thank you. Eshegoni, yeah. Thank you so much. We appreciate. Now we go straight into question and answers. One, I think before Mr. Akinwale came here, Mr.
Madam
Sunday
Àjọkẹ́
spoke.
ṣẹ̀ wá ń bẹ̀ mà àbẹ́mi nìkan mi ò gbọ́.
Ṣé ilé ń gbọ́ mi?
Yeah, we can hear
Can
you.
everybody?
We can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear
Okay.
you.
So
We can hear
question
you.
and answer down. So we go to Khalifa. So Mr. Khalifa, if you can mute your mic, please, for your question.
Yeah, Kale Bobole. Actually, I'm not asking a question. I just want to build on what Ashiri Oro and Mr. Akinleye spoke on. First off, the main problem of the African continent is the destructive or distorted reality that we are living in. And the unity of Africa is crucial, but that unity can't be built on the foundation of theft and colonialism that the Europeans laid down. Because the problem we have in literally every African country is the fact that there is always, as one of the former speakers said, internal conflict or internal differences. Why some people are like, oh, our own stuff or our dream, our motivation is to build a religious caliphate. We want to impose Sharia law, blah blah blah. Some people's dream are, oh, we want to expand the Igbo territory, we want to create an empire in the 21st century. And some people's dream are like, oh, we want economic independence, we want freedom and all. So, but all these things, it cannot be achieved. And a lot of people do not want to like speak about the hard fact and the hard truth. But the thing is that one of the main problems we have, someone was speaking about the fact that no African country or no African leaders spoke on this very, very important thing that has shaped our destiny today. But it's because in Africa, we are not really educated. A lot of people don't understand. Yes, we can read and we can write, but we are miseducated. Burna Boy and some other musicians, they say it in their songs, and if you can actually think to, you will see it. We are not taught about the things that actually like matters, or the things that would shape our life as a people, or the things that actually matters to a human being. We are just taught about basic things or peripheral things that will keep us subservient and that will keep us as serfs, because we are just serfs in our lands, that will keep us as serfs to these world powers. So they year in year out they sponsor a lot of miseducation and all. If a lot of people do not know, but the intention originally, but that Obafemi University was to create a place or an environment where Yoruba will be used to like teach everything, history, science, politics, and all. But this was also destroyed and it was hijacked. It became a federal university and all. All these things we might be thinking, oh, it just happened as a result of the civil war or coups and all. But a lot of things that happened then and that are still happening now in Africa, they are intentional and they are being engineered by the people that are benefiting from our backwardness and from our lackadaisical attitude.
Thank you so
So when we
much.
say
Yeah, because of
I'm still
because of
oh
time, because there are other people that have actually raised up their hand and they are waiting. So and you know,
okay.
yeah, we really
Maybe I should just let them
yeah.
speak and come back because they are very, very important points that I would like to like raise.
Okay, no problem, sir. We really appreciate your input. That was brilliant. Thank you so much, sir. Uh, can we have Mr. Bayo, please, if you can unmute your mic? Thank you, sir.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, is it a question or um an input?
Just a 1 minute input,
Okay,
actually.
thank you, sir.
So it's not a question.
Thank you, sir. Fire
All
on,
right.
sir. Yeah.
Uh, Àáfà ààrẹ, pásítọ̀ ààrẹ, ẹ ṣé o. Gbogbo administration yín ló máa ń dé gbogbo everywhere tó yẹ kó dé. I just want to appreciate you again, once again, for the wonderful ministration. Administration là máa ń pè. Tẹ́ ẹ bá mọ̀, ìfẹ́ jẹ́ kẹ́ mọ̀ lálẹ́ pé some of your recorded spaces máa fi entertain àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ mi. Ó dẹ̀ ó ti ṣiṣẹ́ ìyanu gan-an. Tó bá ti dé báyẹn, àwọn tí mo mọ̀ pé ọmọ ẹ̀kọ́ fẹ́ ponú nu wọn, màá kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí play kíní yẹn ni. Ta ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí? Uncle mi kan ni. Ó yá, ẹ ṣáàjà máa ṣèkọ́ tá à ń ṣe lọ. Ikọ́ tẹ́ni yìí sọ fáàtì máa nì. Ẹ wo, mo lè sọ fún yín at least mẹ́fà nu wọn, wọ́n ti ronú tán. Pé mi ṣe máa ń ṣe fún wọn nìyẹn o. Mi ì bẹ́ anybody argue mi bá wọn fa wàhálà. Message yẹn gospel yẹn mo kàn máa play ẹ̀ fún wọn ni. Tó bá ti gbọ́, tó bá ti wálé ìbá yẹn, tó bá ti ṣe pé kíní kan. Because tí n bá sọ fún wọn, wọn ò ní gbọ́. But tó bá gbọ́ from third party, I just want people to learn from this. Òun mo ṣe ń try láti share this particular stuff tí mo ń sọ yìí. So there are lots of recorded spaces from Ààrẹ that you can use to convert a lot of people to the gospel. I'm a Christian, so àwọn bá ṣe máa ń ṣe evangelism. So method ta fi ń ṣe evangelism yẹn lèmi náà máa ń lò dáadáa tí máa fi ń penetrate a lot of people. If I start sharing scriptures by ẹlòmíràn ní thank you, I am now fully kìíní kan, thank you. Wàá ronú ni, o ò ní ronú kẹ̀. So kò sáyè liberalism kankan mọ́ báyìí síbẹ̀. Then the second thing that I want to suggest is that ẹ jọ̀ọ́ please, Ààrẹ mo bẹ ṣe lè ṣe fún wa, let us explore other medium or other media please. Ẹ má jẹ́ kó kàn jẹ́ pé bóyá space nìkan. I know that a lot of people have been raising suggestions. Please, Èkó yìí a lè focus on this Twitter and other social media. But those villages, ṣẹ́rí tí kíní yẹn bá spread wà látàwọn villages yẹn. I want to give a very good example. There is this man ológun dúdú ní Èkìtì ńgbà yẹn, ológun dúdú bá ti sọ pé ẹni báyìí ni kó vote fún. They always want to listen to him. And that is it. So these messages can go a lot of ways láti ṣe a lot of things. And another thing that we can explore also is like TikTok automatic TikTok live, TikTok TV. Yẹ pé 247 àwọn spaces recorded spaces a máa ràn ẹni. So báwọn èèyàn bá ṣe ń wọlé báwọn á máa ronú ni. Ó bá ṣe ń wọlé báwọn á máa ronú. Kò sáàyè pé kánibọ̀dì ponú mọ́ ní 2024. Mẹ́sẹ̀gì tèmi ò jù ẹ lọ, ẹ ṣé gan-an.
Thank you
Èmi
so
ọmọ jẹ́jẹ́ náà ni,
ẹ
ẹ ṣé
ṣé
gan-an.
gidi gan ni, Mr. Ọmọjẹjẹ, ẹ ṣé gidi gan ni. Gbogbo ilé náà ti gbọ́ yín. All your advice is well valid and well noted. Ẹ ṣé. Thank you so much. So ó dà pé arábìnrin Mọ́remí ẹ gbóhùn sókè mà.
ẹ kalẹ́ máa o, ẹ kalẹ́ gbogbo iléeṣẹ́ ń gbọ́ mi o, ṣé mo wà audible?
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mà, gbogbo ilé ló ń gbọ́ yín mà. Bẹ́ẹ̀
ẹ
ni.
kalẹ́ o, mo kí
Ẹ
host o.
káàbọ̀ sà. Ẹ káàbọ̀ mà.
But host Mr. Àjọkẹ́ ní pé space through àwọn out mi mọ̀ bóyá wọ́n ti padà on kí n kàn bá wọn sọ yẹn. Ẹ jọ
Ó dà pé wọ́n ti
ọ̀rọ̀ tí
wọlé,
máa sọ díẹ̀
wọ́n
pọ̀
yanjú
o.
yẹn.
Ok ma, ọ̀rọ̀ mi pọ̀ díẹ̀ mà because èmi dẹ̀ máa sọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ because ibi tá a dé yìí báyìí àwọn kan fẹ́ káyé àwa Yorùbá bàjẹ́ pátápátá ní Nigerian state ni. Tá a bá wá sọ àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ yìí báwọn ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ṣe rí ayé wa kó má bàa padà bàjẹ́ a gbọ́dọ̀ sọ bó ṣe rí. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ mo máa ń pariwo lórí space ní gbogbo ìgbà. Ìran Yorùbá mọ ìran Ìgbò wàláìtàláì kò tí tó 150 years in total. Ní 18th century mi ò tí ì kárí pẹ̀lú gbogbo oral history. My family are conservatives. In fact nǹkan tí ẹbí mi ti fún community gan kò tí ì fáwa direct ẹbí ẹ̀. So I know for a fact pé ní 18th century ìran Yorùbá àti ìran Ìgbò ò pàdé rí. ẹ jọ̀ọ́ o tani mo bá wa béèrè lọ́wọ́ bọ̀dá Fẹ́mi Adébáyọ̀ ibi tí wọ́n ti rí story tí wọ́n ń kọ pé ọba ilẹ̀ Yorùbá fẹ́ ọmọ Ìgbò àwọn pípù yìí wọ́n try láti create identity bíi Haúsá Fúlàní Ìgbò Yorùbá àwọn ọ̀ràn tá a bá tán ẹ̀yin ọkùnrin Yorùbá dẹ̀ fẹ́ báyé wa jẹ́ adẹ̀ ń pariwo pé fẹ́ báyé wa jẹ́ ṣé ọmọ àpòkà sí nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ yìí àwọn ọmọ máa tàn ń rìn wá yẹn tó bá gbọ́ Yorùbá kó record voice mi kó lọ bá mi play ẹ̀ fún Chioma Àpòkà Chioma Àpòkà tó produce movie yẹn mọ̀ pé ìran òun ẹrú ìgalà nìran òun ẹrú ìjọnìgan nìran òun ẹrú Benin nìran òun pre-colonial era ibo ni wọ́n ti wá rí story pé ní 18th century ọba Yorùbá fẹ́ Ìgbò wọ́n try gbogbo ọ̀nà náà ń gbà láti fẹ́ bayé wa jẹ́ wọ́n fẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ rí Yorùbá àwọn ọmọbìnrin Yorùbá bẹ́ẹ̀ pé àdá tó it's a psychological warfare wọ́n mọ̀ wípé táwọn bá destroy psyche yín dé stage kan ẹ ní rí ara yín bí ẹ pé ẹ wà good enough tẹ́ ẹ bá rí obìnrin yín pé obìnrin yín wà good enough ẹ máa fẹ́ obìnrin àwọn and it's the same story they are putting out in their movies ó ṣe jẹ́ pé irú àsìkò yìí ni Chioma Àpòkà mọ̀ wípé òun fẹ́ produce movie tó ní story ní 18th century nǹkan tí ò ṣẹlẹ̀ pé Yorùbá ọba fẹ́ Ìgbò ó ṣe jẹ́ pé irú àkókò yìí tó yẹ pé tribal talk is hot everywhere bọ̀dá Fẹ́mi Adébáyọ̀ dẹ̀ ẹ̀ nébù ẹ̀ wò bọ̀dá Fẹ́mi Adébáyọ̀ mi ò fẹ́ ṣépè fún yín o but tí yín máa ta ni tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá ti lọ right wrong sí yín nínú movie yẹn if you don't produce another movie to right your wrongs tí yín máa ta ni o tẹ̀bí tara yín torí kò sí nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ rí nínú ìran Yorùbá pé ní 18th century Yorùbá bá lọ fẹ́ Ìgbò tí Yorùbá bá wá fẹ́ Ìgbò ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ọmọ tọmọ Ìgbò yẹn bá di adọ ọmọ tí ọmọ obìnrin Ìgbò yẹn bá bí adi ọba these people are trying to sell a narrative to sink in our mentality.
ẹ ṣe ìyá wa
ẹ jọ̀ọ́
thank
mà mo
you.
lọ́rọ̀ tí mo fẹ́ sọ mi ò tí ì land ẹ jẹ́ kí n land mà mo fọlọ́run bẹ̀ yín.
Time ni okay.
So narrative yẹn ó wà
Just
nínú
1
movie
minute
and
more.
over the years and years àwọn èèyàn wa máa wo movies yẹn àwọn èèyàn wa máa fẹ́ try láti nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ nínú movies yẹn àwọn èèyàn kan máa fẹ́ ṣe pé ṣe bọ́ba kan ti fẹ́ mọ Ìgbò rí ní 18th century kò ṣẹlẹ̀ rí ẹ jọ̀ọ́ o àwọn tó bá lè bá wa mú bọ̀dá Fẹ́mi so ẹ bá wa mú wọn so ẹ má bà tiwa jẹ́ ìran Yorùbá àti ìran Ìgbò tán Chioma Àpòkà tó dẹ̀ produce fíìmù mọ̀ pé ìran ohun ẹrú gàlà làwọn at a time so they know that ẹ wo mọ́mí ẹ mo sì lọ́rọ̀ tí mo fẹ́ sọ ẹ jọ̀ọ́ máa mo bẹ̀ yín kí n tó gba máa ẹ jọ̀ọ́ mò ń bẹ̀ yín lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ fún mi 2 minutes kí n fi round up.
Okay ẹ ṣe mà.
ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá kan náà wà lórí space yìí tó yẹ pé kò sí bá a bá ṣe lè pariwo tó ṣe rí nǹkan tí àwa kan ṣe ń pariwo ni pé a lè jẹ́ kẹ́ bá yé wa jẹ́ àwọn ìran tá a bá tán transfer 300 plus voters card from their region to come and hijack political power ẹ̀yin kan dẹ̀ sì ń tẹ̀lé wọn àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá kan tó dẹ̀ jọ ẹ̀yin tí mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ sọ ẹ̀yin ọkùnrin ni ṣó ṣépè fún yín ni tá làwọn tó bí yín gan-an ẹ jọ ẹ̀yin olórí burúkú ọmọ yìí ta nìyá yín ná torí ọkùnrin ni gbogbo yín bọ̀dá Fẹ́mi Adébáyọ̀ tó bá wọn ṣe story wèrè ọkùnrin ni these are psychological warfare láti destroy psyche yín that you are not good enough the Igbos are trying to create identity of Yorùbá Igbo kò sí nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ Yorùbá Igbo ìran Yorùbá ò bá Igbo tán ẹ jọ̀ọ́ torí Ọlọ́run ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ wò ó mo máa read mic báyìí ná ẹ jọ̀ọ́ mo read báyìí ná mo sì máa sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má drop mi mà mo sì máa sọ̀rọ̀ mà.
ẹ ṣe gan ni mà ẹ wo gbogbo ilé náà ti gbọ́ ẹ̀yin bàbá wa ẹ ti gbọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ káwọn ìyá wa máa béèrè pé àwọn ta ló bírú àwọn èèyàn báyìí ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ìran Yorùbá ò ní parẹ́ o thank you for your contribution all the time ma it's well valid. ṣé Mr. Travel Dog ṣé ẹ on mute micing yeah is it hello Mr. Travel Dog are you there tó pẹ́ raise up àwọ̀ yín ni o Mr. Travel Dog okay ó dà pé wọn ò sí níbẹ̀ Is there anybody that wants to come up as well to speak? Actually, what we'll be taking now is only questions. Yeah, we have enough of additions. Questions, so Are can answer, or whoever is that can answer can go on. Okay, Mr. Khalifa, is it a question?
I think Dr. Adedapo wants to speak. The host, can you bring him up?
The host.
I can't.
Yeah, I can't. I can't. I've tried. I can't. I tried to bring him
Mo
up.
ti
I
mo tiẹ̀
couldn't.
ti mo ti send co-host sí yín. So ẹ̀yin Madam
Okay.
Àjọkẹ́ maybe kẹ́ like ẹ kúrò lórí Twitter ẹ padà
Oh,
wá.
okay. Okay, I will do that now. Eshe, yeah.
Okay. So Talowa moderate lọ báyìí.
I can moderate for a minute, innit?
Ẹ káalẹ́ o.
I think I'm back. Ṣé everybody lè gbọ́ mi? Ṣé gbogbo lè ń gbọ́ mi?
Ṣé ẹ̀ ń
Yes.
gbọ́ mi?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good, good.
Um,
So,
Inú
uh,
mi dùn láti wà lórí space yìí lálẹ́. As a matter of fact, láti last week ni mo ti fẹ́ join space yìí because I came across this space last week and conversation tí ó take place lórí space yẹn last week. Inú mi dùn sí gan-an gidi gan pé ìran Yorùbá àti Azima I'm coming Azima pé ìran Yorùbá irú àwọn ìjíròrò báyìí ó ti ń wáyé láàárín àwa youth àtàwọn àgbàlagbà. Mi ò mọ age category àwọn èèyàn tó wà níbí báyìí, but I know that the age bracket is spread across different demography, and the fact that we're having this kind of conversation at this particular time is something that brings joy to my mind. Now, I don't know if I can dwell on last week's topic before I proceed to what we are conversing on right now. Last week, yeah,
no, it's better
somebody,
we forge ahead because the topic for today is for today. So, people are still going to go back and listen. So last week is gone. So we just have to continue to move, sir. So speak on the topic for today, and we move from there. Thank you, sir.
okay, no problem. Ibi tí mo ti ń ṣiṣẹ́ ní mo wà ní UK báyìí, and I work in the middle of gbogbo nǹkan tí ààrẹ sọ lálẹ́. Ẹ jọ àwọn èèyàn wọ́n ti denounce ìṣẹ̀ṣe ńlẹ̀ Yorùbá. Let us revitalize ìṣẹ̀ṣe o. Let us revitalize ìṣẹ̀ṣe. Ìṣẹ̀ṣe is our identity. And gbogbo nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí Pentecostal Christian lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ Nàìjíríà, I think I'm kind of happy because wọ́n wà lára àwọn tó tà wá lọ́pọ̀, tó demonize culture wa. I work in UK here, and where I work, there are a lot of Jews around me. And tó bá wà Manchester, wọ́n mọ̀ pé there's a lot of Jewish community in Manchester. I see these people, I see the way they react, I see the way they relate. Ààrẹ tún sọ nǹkan kan lẹ́ẹ̀kan wípé we need to start producing more. I see these people, I notice them closely. Wọ́n bí more because they know their population has to be rejigged for them to have a say in this world. Because this world is cruel, this world is brutal. And nǹkan tó dáa, you can't just fall down and good things will come and meet you. Secondly, mo notice nǹkan kan tó bá di Thursday, mi ò mọ àwọn tó nímọ̀ jù mí lọ torí mo ti ń try láti wádìí kinní yẹn. Láti Friday, mo notice pé àwọn people yìí wọ́n ń fọwọ́ kan iná. Anything iná títí kan electric lock wọ́n ń fọwọ́ kan. Wọ́n wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa arouse curiosity mi. Kí ni ìtumọ̀ kinní? Because I see them dey carry, they are more of
ṣé
they
mi ni
practice
àbí
Judaism.
ẹni yẹn àbá àgbọ̀ nǹkan tó sọ mọ́?
Hello, ṣé ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ mi?
We
Yes,
can.
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Now,
It's probably a network.
I see them go around and try to promote their identity, their culture, the who they are.
And I think that is the same conversation we're having today. And if we can take a look at what these Jewish people are doing, it's something that we should be able to emulate, because back home, you have a lot of Yoruba people that are trying to sound liberal. They're trying to sound liberals to people who don't return the same energy to you.
Mr.
I have a friend. I have a
Thank
friend
you.
that is always disturbing me that I'm a tribal bigot, I'm this, I'm that. I
Thank you.
ask,
Thank you,
tó
sir.
bá lọ sílẹ̀ Yíbò, ṣé àwọn orí ọ̀fẹ́ tí àwa ń fún wọn nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ṣọ́ ń fún wọn níbẹ̀? Ṣé ìwọ ọmọ Yorùbá lè lọ síbẹ̀ yẹn kọ́ ní o lè di kánsẹ́lọ̀ ńbẹ̀ wọn ò ní pàtó fún ẹ? Even
Mr.
títí dé Ẹdó lẹ́lẹ́ ńbẹ̀ yẹn.
Mr. Mo, me.
Bẹ́ẹ̀,
Yeah, thank you so much for your contribution. Because of our time, a lot
okay,
of other people still want to talk. Yeah. So
okay.
Eshegoni,
But màá
thank
fẹ́
you
kí
so much.
ààrẹ kó shed light on that, because I know it's very vast
He will.
on, yeah,
On what?
on that by what I noticed about the Jewish people.
Okay, he will. He will. Noted. Thank you so much. Please, if we have Mr. Adebayo, no, Adedapo Adebanjo, please, if you can mute your mic, sir.